If you've been trying to learn how to wholesale real estate, then you have arrived at the correct video. In this series that I'm going to make completely for free, I'm going to teach you how to go from complete beginner to somebody who is able to know everything there is to know about wholesaling real estate, at least everything that I know, which is quite a fucking bit. I've made millions of dollars wholesaling real estate. I have taught thousands, tens of thousands of people how to wholesale real estate. I have hundreds of successful students. I have students who are making over $1 million a year from wholesaling real estate. It is safe to say I know what I'm talking about, okay? And in this series, I'm gonna give all of that information to you completely for free. I'm gonna be making a new video in this series showing you exactly what you need to know to become successful, okay? This is going to be all completely free. Now, here's the deal. The reason why I make these videos and the reason why I want to teach people how to do this is because I want to do deals with people, all right? I found out a long time ago that if I teach people how to wholesale real estate, they will want to do deals with me. And so, by the way, if you have a deal and are looking for help selling it, there is a link down below where you can JV with me and I will help you sell your deal and we will split the profits and we're both going to go make a lot of money. So just, I'm going to put everything out there in front of us. That's the reason why I make these videos. Like I am serving here. I want to make money with you by doing deals with you. All right. But with that being said, I'm still going to show you every single thing you could possibly need to know about wholesaling real estate in this series. We're going to cover everything. But the problem is because it's free, people don't tend to value it. Okay, it's the number one problem with the education system in America. People love to talk about, oh, we have the shittiest schools. No, we don't. We have amazing schools. The problem is it's free, so nobody gives a shit about it. Okay, if they paid for it, we'd get a lot better results. Now, that's why I do have paid programs. It's because when people pay for it, they know that they're investing in themselves. Look, you can tell anything about anyone based on where they spend their money. That's going to show you what somebody actually cares about. But I want to make this accessible to everybody. But I'm going to promise you right now, I'm going to make a deal with you right now that I'm not going to give you fluff. Now, this video right here is going to be a little bit of fluff. This is the welcome video. I need to get your mind right. I need to tell you what you're going to get into. You're not going to be learning anything specific in this video, but you still need to watch it. You need to watch every single video, okay? Including this one. Because listen, I'm telling you right now, if you truly want to be successful, you're going to need to learn the things I'm going to tell you. Because becoming successful in any endeavor, whether it's wholesaling real estate or starting any business, you need to realize that you're going to need to make some certain very large changes to your mindset. And I'm going to teach you how to do that really quickly instead of you just skipping ahead because you're like, fuck that, I don't need this. Let me go to number 2 video, which is going to be on whatever, right? Because I'm going to take you through the steps as you should go through them when it comes to wholesaling real estate. Don't just fucking skip ahead. You need to watch this entire thing. But anyway, like I was saying, this is all going to be completely free, but we need to make a deal. Because even though it's completely free, I'm telling you, I'm going to give you all the sauce. This is the same stuff I give to people in my paid programs. This is the same stuff that I've done myself. It's the same stuff that my students who are crushing it are doing, okay? I'm not just like skimming off the top. There's no other secret sauce, okay? So that's my promise to you is I'm going to give you the good shit. I'm going to give you the stuff that you need if you want to take this business so that you can live the kind of life that you want to, all right? I know because I was like you, all right? We'll get to that in a second. But I'm going to give you the good stuff. And in return, I need you to actually commit to this, okay? If you're the kind of person who is just like, oh, let me check this out. Let me see if this is for me. I don't really know yet. This isn't for you, okay? Skip the video, fucking hit the dealership, go get a job over there, all right? If you already understand what wholesaling real estate is, you understand this business model, you know it's for you, then you're in the right place, okay? But I don't need anybody sitting on the fence over here, all right? Either shit or get off the pot. Now's the time to decide. Also, if you're the kind of person who is like so fucking TikTok brained where you can't even like watch however long this video is going to be, I don't know, it's probably going to be over 30 minutes. You can't even fucking sit down and watch that shit for a second. This also isn't going to be for you. These are all going to be long form videos where I literally show you everything there is to know about any given process. It's going to be exactly as if you paid me tens of thousands of dollars for a one-on-one mentorship and every single day we hopped on fucking Zoom calls and I showed you what to do. That's what this series is going to be, all right? So if you're the kind of person that's like, ooh, not for me, all right, fuck you, don't want to be friends with you, you're probably lame and you get no bitches. But if you're the kind of person who's like, that hypes them up, you're excited, you're like, oh, fuck yeah, I'm ready to lock in. Like you already got your notepad. If you're that person, this is for you, all right? I want to be friends with you. I like you. We are already tight. We just cosmically have not met yet, but we will soon probably, okay? So we're fucking locked in. And if that is you right now, do me a favor. Fucking put in the comments right now and say what's up, all right? And affirm to yourself that you are going to watch every single video and that you are going to take action on it, okay? Because that's another thing. That's another thing, especially about free stuff. The reason why I don't like doing shit for free is because people don't take action on it. When people pay me for programs, they fucking do. And then they go get the results. But free people are like, oh, because they didn't pay anything, they didn't commit, they have no skin in the game. They're like, I'll get to it. Like, wow, Tyson just showed me exactly what I need to do to make $20,000. And even though I'm fucking behind on my rent and I don't have enough money for this, and my fucking girlfriend's going to leave me because I'm not making enough money and I can't provide for her, and my parents are in debt, but fuck, you know, I'll start next week, right? It's because they didn't pay anything. They have no skin in the game, all right? But if it's not you and you're like, dude, you're just been begging for an opportunity for somebody to take a chance on you, that is this moment right now. I am taking a chance on you, okay? Because there's a million things I could be doing. Just to give you, just to clue you in right now, it's currently 7:12 a.m., all right? I've been up for fucking 2 hours already, just fucking working, just making money, learning, and doing things that are going to help me make money. Okay. Now I would like to keep continuing to do those things, but I thought, maybe if I take a chance on some people and I give them all the sauce they need for free, that they will learn how to do it. They'll go get some fucking deals, and then we'll end up doing some together, right? Because here's the deal. I need people who are fucking hustlers, who are bringing me deals. Because guess what? Once I see you start doing that, maybe I'm going to share my deals with you. And I have quite a fucking bit of them. All right. And that's what I want to see, because that's what I'm doing with my top students. That's what I want to do with you. All right. So if you are going to fucking watch every single video, you are going to implement, leave a comment, tell me what you would like me to know about you. Because like I said, maybe our paths haven't crossed yet, but I'm telling you, if you implement this stuff, you start doing it, the cosmos are going to fucking intertwine our lives together somehow. And so we will meet eventually. And I'd like for you to, when that day comes, be like, yo, check it out. I left a fucking comment. All right. So comment what I should know about you right now. If you only if you're the type of person who's actually going to fucking take action on this, actually going to do this, actually going to change their life, actually use this information to go make a ton of money. Okay. Now, the next thing I want to go into is, obviously, this is the first video of I don't even know how many. Basically, I'm going to be covering every single step as a beginner would need to know about it. Okay. Now, what I do not want you to do is come into my video today and be like, well, where do I start? Or what happened? How do I find the buyer? You don't fucking need to know how to do that yet, okay? I know how all the steps work, right? For you, they're this contorted, jumbled up, fucking amalgamation of shit. For me, I know I have the bird's eye view. I know A, B, C, D, E, F, G, right? I know the way they go. And here's the deal. I am going to teach them in the way that you need to learn them, because you do not need to be making problems in your head that don't fucking exist yet, right? Like, I love these people. They're like, wow. They're like, it looks like you made $20,000, but how do I pay taxes on that? And I'm like, well, did you make $20,000 yet on a wholesale deal? And they're like, no, but then what the fuck you worried about it for? All right. Eventually, I'll tell you what, go make 20 G's, and then you can have a fucking free consultation with a CPA who will tell you what to do. But right now, you're inventing problems in your own head. And guess what? Your brain does not know the difference between these imaginary invented problems and problems that actually exist in your life. You got some fucking caveman brain who's like, oh, fuck, fire, danger, I gotta get the fuck out of here, right? That's what you're operating on. That's what I'm operating on. Let's not make it any more confusing, any more problems for this brain of ours, okay? So, watch the videos in the order and do the things in the order, because guess what? We will eventually get to the shit you do need to know. All right? We'll get there. I promise. We will. But it's when you need to know about it. Okay? Next, wholesaling real estate is not a get-rich-quick scheme. If you are under the impression that you are going to fucking watch a couple of videos and a week later cash 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 80, $100,000 checks, guess what? You're fucking wrong. It's not how it works. Yes, wholesaling real estate is easily the best way to make a lot of money quickly with the lowest barrier to entry. That's true. But guess what? It takes time. And I know this is going to scare some of you guys. It takes work. You're not just going to show up, watch videos, and then fucking checks are going to land in your lap. That's not how this works. You're going to have to do some work. And guess what? I'm going to tell you the truth because most people out there won't. A lot of it is going to be fucking boring. You're going to have to make a ton of fucking cold calls every single day. And guess what? That shit sucks. It especially sucks when a lot of those cold calls, you're ripping people on lowball offers and they're going to get really mad at you. And they're probably going to call you mean names. And in the beginning, you're not going to have the sales skills because you haven't developed them yet to handle that shit. And it might hurt your feelings a little bit. But guess what? If you are willing to push through that, if you right now understand that your life is not where you want to be, right? And you are willing to endure through a little bit of boringness and being called a little bit of names over the phone, then everything you've ever wanted is on the other side of that, okay? Because if you can push through that part where you have to make those cold calls, and guess what? There's no going around it. You have to start there. It's even if you had fucking $100,000 to throw at this every single month on PPC ads and all this other shit, you need to develop those sales skills. And the way to do that is through cold calling. So you have to get through that. All right. But once you do that, once you get through, I call it like the crucible, you get through that initial gauntlet of getting your first deal. You earn two very important things. Not only do you close that first deal and now you have some fucking money that you could put behind your operation and make everything a lot easier, but you also have experience. Because when you get started doing this, you're not just getting paid in money. The most important thing you're getting paid in is experience, all right? Every single cold call you make, every single time somebody asks you a question that you don't know the answer to, or an objection that you handle incorrectly, right? Or you make a lowball offer and they don't accept and you try a new negotiation thing. Every single time something like that happens, you're learning, you're getting better. You're growing your sales skills. You're growing your skills of analyzing a deal, figuring out what your ARV, what your repair cost, what your MAO is. All right. You're growing your networking skills. You're becoming a better salesperson. You're becoming better on the phone. There's all these things that add up. Okay. I think about when I was, first in the game, right? You need to remember, I wasn't always this guy. One time I was 22. I was fucking broke. I didn't have enough money to get double fucking chicken at Chipotle. I didn't have enough money to fucking Uber Eats anything. All my money, and if I had extra money, bro, it was spent at the bar and I was fucking off, right? I used to be that guy, right? But I had to become the person I am now, and it started with developing these initial skills, the skills I got from closing that first deal. Guys, when I was on my fucking journey, right? If you guys don't know, I got started wholesaling real estate. It took me 2 months to get my first deal. I was making over 1,000 cold calls a day, 6 days a week, okay? 6 days a week I was doing that. It took me 2 months to get that first deal under contract. You don't think that 4 weeks, 5 weeks, 6 weeks in, when I'm making these calls, I've been doing this fucking every single day for a month and a half and I have nothing to show for it? You don't think there were times where I was like, oh my fucking God, what am I doing wrong? Is this a scam? Is this not going to work for me? So all this shit, man, I put in all this time and I don't have anything to show for it, right? But what I didn't realize was I did have things to show for it. And I realized this later on now, but about a month in, I remember I talked to this woman and she, said she was interested in selling. And when we got to the price, I immediately knew the price she was asking there was like a $20,000 fee in it. Even just without negotiating, if I just gave her the price she wanted. And you know what? I did. And I made her an offer at the price. She's like, that's great. I'll tell you what, tomorrow we can go ahead and get all the paperwork sorted out, get this deal done. And I was like, fuck yeah. What time tomorrow? She's like, noon. I was like, oh, I'll be there. Hell yeah. Guess what? I'm fucking stoked, right? I'm on fuck yeah. I'm like, damn, I'm going to get this deal under contract. It's going to be so easy to sell. I'm going to make $20,000. I was already counting my fucking money. And then guess what? I give her a call tomorrow, first thing in the morning, right? Just to confirm, hey, we still on for noon. No answer. Oh, fuck. Send a text. No answer. Give her a call again, another hour. No answer. Oh, fuck. Noon comes around. She has not answered. I've called her several times. I've texted her a bunch of times. No fucking answer. I'm so fucking defeated. Eventually, she does call me back around 5 p.m. She says, hey, Tyson, super sorry. But last night, I talked to somebody else. They actually were able to offer me more, and we just went ahead and did it over the phone. And so, yeah, I appreciate your time, but the house is sold to somebody else. Somebody else got to that fucking lead and they fucking made shit happen, which is going to be a lesson we'll talk about later on. I'm going to, They fucking made shit happen. They got it done right then and there. They didn't wait till fucking tomorrow. And because of that, I lost that fucking deal. Now, I had already been feeling how I was saying earlier, so fucking pissed, right? Feeling like I've been wasting my time, right? That's how I'd been feeling. And then I just got hit by that fucking hammer, right? Of like just a gut punch, all the wind out of my sails, man. I'm like been working all this time, so I'm in the show for it. Finally have this one little win, boom, taken out from underneath me, right? Guess what? While I lost $20,000 that day, essentially, I'll tell you what, after that, that's not a lesson I ever had to learn again. And I learned something very important. And that was when you've got somebody ready to move, right? Somebody ready to make a move. We do not fucking wait till tomorrow. We get this done right now, okay? And because of that, how many more hundreds of thousands of dollars have I made because of that philosophy, because I learned that lesson? Now, that's just an example of what I'm telling you is, trust me, in the beginning, that fucking not getting that 20 G's stung more than you could possibly imagine. But the lesson I learned has now been with me forever, okay? That's just one little example of how you are getting paid in experience before you get paid in money. Because getting paid in money, that's the last thing that happens. And I know that fucking sucks. But you will learn that this experience compounds and it makes making the money so much easier, so much quicker, okay? So remember, this isn't a get-rich-quick scheme. You're not going to just close your first deal fucking tomorrow. It is going to take time. You're going to get yelled at quite a bit. You're going to have to do boring things. But guess what? If you want to live an extraordinary life, right? You guys, look, and if you guys don't know me, right? If you don't know who I am, I live in the fucking 5,500 square foot house in the nicest zip code in Arizona. I have a Rolls Royce Cullinan. I have a fucking Ferrari. I've got my wife, her fucking Porsche, right? All parked out front, right? I got a $5,000 English Bulldog running around. I haven't had to worry about fucking any kind of money in years. And the reason why I have all of this and the reason why I can do all of this is because I was willing to do that fucking boring shit that most people weren't willing to do. And guess what? I didn't really have to do it for that long. I probably had to do it for a year, all right? And I was making good money, right? But I had to do it for a year until I was able to get these systems, processes, and people in place that were able to get me to the point where I am now, okay? So going along that vein, you need to realize that most people are normal, right? They're normal people. Now, here's the deal. You do not want to be normal, okay? Normal people don't have fucking anything that you want, all right? You have to be willing to be different. You have to be willing to do things that other people are not if you want to live the kind of life that most people are not able to, all right? You have to be willing to do that. And guess what? It fucking sucks. It's hard. If it wasn't, everybody would be driving around in Lamborghinis, okay? But that's not the way it is. So if you are ready to sack up, do some shit that is going to be uncomfortable and not fun. But here, and also, here's what I'm going to say on that, is your ability to be successful is directly correlated to that trait, all right? The kind of person who has the level of self-mastery to get themselves to do shit that is not that fun right now, but will get them the things they want in the future is going to be the person who will have everything they want. Okay. Like, for instance, right now, I don't just relish in the fact of me sitting down and just recording this video for you guys because I don't get any direct gain anytime soon, right? Months from now, after you guys, and I've gotten the people who need to see this stuff, we've got the right crowd in here. Months from now, after they've consumed this and the next videos 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 and however many, and they start doing deals, maybe I'll get to do a deal with them. That is months from now, right? That payday for me is coming. But guess what? I'm willing to do shit that I don't, just love to be able to do. I'm just able to get myself to do it. That's why I'm able to have the shit that I have, okay? That's why I'm able to live the kind of life that I get to live. Guys, look, I fucking golf every single day. I'm 27 years old. I'm at the golf course every single day. And guess what? I have complete freedom in my time to do that. I can go do that 4.5 hours a day, completely fuck off. The money and shit that I spend on it is pretty much free because it doesn't even, and it's because I put in this early work because I was able to do the things I didn't want to do. All right. And that's something you're going to have to do. You need to understand, I was like you. Okay, look. It's not like I was always like this. It's not like I was always like, I am inherently a lazy person. I always have been. I don't like fucking doing uncomfortable shit. All right. It's not fun. It's not fun for anybody. All right. This is a skill that I've had to develop. All right. Over time. Right. It started in college where I realized is that, look, what the fuck? Okay. We're back. Technical difficulties. This skill started for me in college when I realized that I did not want to fucking go to class. Going to class sucks. All right. And at first I was like, fuck it, I'm not gonna do it, right? But if I didn't do that, and then I also did poorly on the tests, and I didn't do the assignments, then I would not get good grades, and then I would lose my scholarship, and then I could no longer be in fantasy land fucking around at a frat at the University of Alabama, partying every single day. So I was like, well, how can I not go to class, but also be able to maintain good grades? I was like, well, what if instead of going to class, I just, however many hours I was supposed to go to class that day, if I just spent 1/4 of that time, so if I was supposed to be in class for 4 hours and I just spent 1 hour in the library, or in my case, the study room at the frat, doing the shit that I would be doing in class, learning the things, but instead of having to rely on the dumbass teacher going slow for all the fucking lowest common denominator people in the room, I could just do it at my own pace, spend an hour on it, learn everything I needed to do my assignments, and I'd be fine. And guess what? That is the start to my thing. And so I was like, okay, shit. There we go. I can do this thing that I don't want to do to be able to get the thing that I eventually want, right? That I want more, just not that I want right now. And okay. And I learned. I'm like, all right, this makes sense, right? So that's how I started with that. But eventually, right, when I graduated college and I was like, oh, fuck, I need money. I have this beautiful girlfriend, this woman that I love very much, right? I don't want to be a fucking, like, some lazy piece of shit, has no money, nothing going for him. Like, I need to become the man that she deserves. I need to become the sort of man I know I'm capable of being, right? And it was like, oh, well, fuck. It's right in the middle of COVID. The job, the nice cushy job I had lined up is gone. What am I supposed to do? Well, I was just like you, right? Fucking on TikTok, on YouTube, watching these fucking make money things, seeing the thing about day trading, tried drop shipping, all these kinds of things. And by the grace of God, I was lucky enough to land upon wholesaling, and I was stupid enough to just fucking go all in on it because I was 22 years old and I was an idiot. I had nothing to lose. But guess what? Because I did that, now I am where I am today. And even though during the first 6 months, the first 2 months, I didn't even have anything to fucking show for it, I didn't realize then all the experience I was building, that then when I did talk to the guy, his name's John, that was the first deal that I ended up making $15,000 on, I realized had I not had all of those 2 months of experience of cold calling, I probably would have fumbled that deal. But because I did have the experience and I'd learned a lot of things during the way, I was able to get on the phone with him. I was able to get the deal done. I was able to get it closed, and I was able to make 15 grand. And that's when it became real for me. All right. Now I say this, that wholesaling isn't a get rich quick scheme. Here's the deal. In those first 2 months, I made $0. Then I closed that deal and I made $15,000. I got started in May of 2020. Between May of 2020 and December 31st of 2020, I did just shy of $400,000. So as you can see, after closing that first $15,000 deal, once I had 15 racks plus all that experience from those 2 months, shit started to multiply pretty quickly. 2021, I made over $1 million, and I've done over $1 million every single year since then. All right. So while yes, it's not a get rich quick scheme, you're not going to just fucking make 30 bands, in a night or in a week. It starts to snowball. Okay. But then you start to get to a level where you realize $1 million isn't even a lot of money in like the real, like actual making money world. And then, you start to try and figure out how to get more or whatever. I digress. That's not, this is not the time or point. Okay. All right. It was an alarm for me to walk my trash down my long ass driveway so that the fucking waste management people can pick it up. So I've got to pause. We'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. Pardon the interruption. While I was walking down there, I was thinking about basically what we're talking about. How do you get somebody to actually, become this kind of person where they're willing to delay their gratification, sacrifice the things they really want for the things or how do they sacrifice the things they want right now for the things they really want, right? Like right now, I would really like to just like be playing video games or, going to the range, working on my golf swing or playing golf. But what I really, really want more than that is to make enough money where I can be doing those things at fucking a country club that costs $1 million to join and another fucking 10, 20 bands a month, right? And I don't make enough money to do that right now. So I'm willing to sacrifice the shit I want to be doing right now for the things I really want in life, right? How do you help somebody become that? And I think what I was thinking about is you need to realize like why you need to do that. Now, for me in the beginning, it was like my girlfriend, my now wife, right? I wanted to become the kind of man that she deserves, the kind of man I knew I was able to be, right? What about your parents, right? How many of you guys have parents that you know are struggling financially? Like, what the fuck, man? Like, you need to really tap into that and realize that shit. You have the ability to help them. You live in the age of the internet, motherfucker, where you can get access to shit like this, where I'm going to teach you something. All the information's already out there, already on my YouTube channel. It's available. Now I'm going to package up and make it really nice for you in the series. But everything is out there for you to learn to be able to help your parents. Like, if your mom is freaking out because she needs to like get a new tire and it's $400 and she doesn't have that, like, bro, you need to step up, right? Like, if you like, can you imagine how it would feel to show your parents, I just made $15,000. I just made $20,000. And then I'll be able to do that month after month. And then you're doing it multiple times a month, every single month, right? What is your girlfriend going to say, right? I need you to hold on to that feeling right there and realize, fuck, I need to get there. I need to be able to do that, all right? Do it for them, okay? Don't do it just for yourself, right? You need to attach somebody else, unselfishly, that you're going to be able to help from this information that I'm going to give you, okay? So, look, as I said, I'm going to give you guys the sauce. I'm going to teach you the things you need to know to be able to change your life, all right? I'm here and I'm doing this because I want you to be successful. Actually, I need you to be successful, all right? Because as I said, I'm self-interested. I need you guys to learn the things that I'm going to teach you so you can do deals, so me and you can do deals together. And that you start doing deals and you're over in fucking North Carolina. And now when I get a deal in North Carolina, I know I can send it to you. You're going to sell it. We're both going to make money. And you get a deal and it's in Arizona and I'm going to sell it and we're both going to make money, or whatever it is, right? I need you to become successful so that we can do deals together. I'm not in the business of wasting my fucking time, all right? Okay, so that's why I'm going to give you the information. But the only way this works is if we have a fucking understanding that I give you the correct information, you implement, all right? So again, if you haven't already, I need you to affirm in the comments that you're going to do this, all right? Introduce yourself, tell me your name, tell me what I need to know about you, and fucking affirm that you are going to take the steps that I'm going to give you. You're going to put in the work, you're going to watch the videos, and you're going to go be successful, and we're going to do deals together, all right? I need you to do that. And lastly, another thing I was thinking of is you need to realize, back in the vein of what I was saying, is normal people aren't willing to do shit like this. They aren't. Okay, they want to play it safe. They need to do things where they're going to get the shit they want right now, not the stuff they really want. Okay, you need to understand that you cannot be normal and be able to be successful doing this. And you also need to understand that you should not want to be normal. Okay, you are going to be fucking weird. People are going to make fun of you. People are not going to believe in you. And you don't want to know why? Because it scares them. Because you're willing to fucking take a chance on yourself and live outside of the way of the mainstream, right? Because you've seen what the mainstream is. That shit fucking sucks. Fucking working 5 days a week so you can go out, get fucking beers on Friday. Like, you don't want that, dude. You want to be able to do whatever you want, whenever you want, every single day, okay? And that starts by being a little bit uncomfortable, doing something you've never done before, learning a new skill, and getting after it, all right? Now, I told you, I promise you, I'm going to teach you everything I know about learning this skill so you can get there as quickly as possible, all right? I'm going to go through the steps in the way you need to learn them, in a way where basically every single day is going to be broken down. I'm going to teach you something, and then you're going to have homework, all right? Right now, all your homework is fucking subscribe, because you need to see when the new video comes out. I'm going to record it tomorrow, and then my editor, whoever needs to fucking make the thumbnail or something, it'll be out, probably tomorrow or the next day, right? So you need to subscribe to the channel. You need to leave a comment and affirm. You need to fucking like this. Like, if you made it this far, you're ready. Like, come on, fucking like this, because you need the, right? We need to spread the love. We need other people to be able to see this as well, all right? And you need to watch every single video. And lastly, once you do get that first deal, come back to the comment that you initially made and let me know. Like, dude, I did it. I closed it and funded today. $30,000 straight to the fucking bank, bro. I was fucking negative. Now I'm not. Now I'm up fucking $29,476 or whatever it is, all right? Dude, there's been so many times I've seen that, right? People have come in, I've taught them, what to do, and then all of a sudden they send me pictures of their bank accounts, their wires come in, it's like they had $4 and now they have fucking $40,004, shit like that. So I can't wait to see who's next, all right? Subscribe, we're gonna see you on the next video, all right? That is when shit is actually gonna get real, right? This video was, I know, look, I didn't actually teach you anything. Hopefully I fucking, I sat there and roasted you a little bit, and I hope that fucking hit home, and I hope you were like, oh shit, he's right? But look, no more of that. All the next stuff is just straight game. It's actually teaching you the shit you need to know, all right? So we're gonna start moving forward with that tomorrow. I'm not gonna tell you what the video is. I already have it broken down on what I need, what I know needs to be taught as soon as possible so you can start making money as soon as possible. And we're gonna get started on that first thing tomorrow, all right? So like, subscribe, we'll see you on the next one, and welcome to the fucking first day of the rest of your life. Welcome everybody into the first video of the series where I'm actually gonna teach you some things. And today we're gonna start off with a very important part. We're getting straight into it. Notice I'm not wasting any time telling you to go get a fucking LLC or to come up with your company name or your logo, because guess what? None of that shit is gonna make you any more money. Now, we will get to some things where you may eventually want to get an LLC. That'll be later on. For right now, you should not care about that. All we should care about are doing the things that are gonna start making us money as soon as possible. And that first thing that we're gonna need to do is to pick a market, okay? Now, you can wholesale anywhere in the United States. You could wholesale from your place in fucking Maine, and you could be wholesaling houses in Hawaii. Now, is that a good idea? Well, that's what we're gonna figure out, because in this video, I'm gonna teach you how to find the very best markets for wholesaling real estate, because not every single market is created equally. But with that being said, there are people doing deals in pretty much every single decently populated market, okay? And what I mean by that is we need to look and understand the fundamentals of wholesaling. We need to take a step back, and that is, the only way we make money is if we sell our contract to somebody else. Meaning, we need to be able to find a buyer for our contract. Meaning, we want to be able to wholesale in places where there are buyers. So it might be very easy for me to find some middle of the nowhere town with a population of 500 and get some dude to sell me his house for 10 cents on the dollar. But even if I get that property under contract, am I gonna have any luck finding a real estate investor in that town with a population of 500 people who is gonna wanna pay more for that property? Probably not, okay? So while it might be really easy for me to get a house under contract there, that's worth piss all if I can't actually sell it. So I'm gonna teach you how to uncover what the best markets are, where you're gonna have the easiest time finding buyers, and all in all, and the easiest time actually finding properties to sell, right? Because we want to get a perfect mix of that. And the other thing is, there's also such thing as a too populated market for beginners. For instance, I would never tell a beginner to start wholesaling in Los Angeles County, even though in Los Angeles County, the wholesalers I know who are making the most amount of money all wholesale there. It's because it is so insanely competitive, okay? Now, competition is not a bad thing when it comes to good markets. In fact, it's a good thing. You do not want to be fishing in a pond where nobody's at, because that means there's no fucking fish there, okay? If there are people in a market, that is a good sign, because it means people are making money, all right? And the beautiful thing about wholesaling real estate is that they're very low barrier to entry, and so you're able to enter markets really easily. So we want there to be competition, because that means they're making money, but we do not want to be in places where lead costs are going to be super high because of how much competition. Meaning, and all you need to know for that is two places. You don't want to wholesale in LA County, you don't want to wholesale in San Diego County, California, or New York City. Those are the three, okay? Besides that, you're good. The other thing that we need to figure out is regulations, okay? Now, there is not a single state or a single place where wholesaling real estate is necessarily illegal. You can wholesale anywhere. However, some states have more regulations than others. Now, I'm going to actually rewind for a second and tell you guys that none of this is legal advice. I'm not an attorney. I'm not giving you financial advice. I'm simply saying what I would do, me personally, okay? For all things, consult with your attorney, do what you need to do over there. But here's what I would do. First step in understanding what market I want to pick for wholesaling real estate to be successful, I am going to go to ChatGPT, and I'm going to consult a legal professional over here. Now, ideally, you could consult an attorney, right? But this is just what I would do. I would go to ChatGPT and I would say, hey, ChatGPT, which states in the US have the strictest wholesaling regulations and what are they? In addition, which states have the loosest wholesaling regulations? And if they have any, what are they? Perfect. Now let's have ChatGPT do our research for us. Okay, strictest. As we can see, Illinois, assigning contracts is legal, but you're limited to one unlicensed deal per year. Beyond that, you must hold a real estate license. Okay, perfect. So you can wholesale in Illinois, but you can only do one per year without a real estate license. Or perhaps you could double close or do novations or anyway, whatever. Or you could just go get a real estate license. Oklahoma requires specific disclosures, assignment intent, fee details, and gives the seller cancellation rights. Yeah, Oklahoma, nah, we're out. Nebraska introduced laws. Okay. South Carolina. Yeah. All right. No. Okay. So look, when we see things like this, wholesalers must clearly disclose contract assignment. The contract I use says that we're going to assign. It says we're able to assign, it says we're a wholesale buyer. It doesn't matter. It also gives us the right to advertise the property. Now, wholesale with the loosest: North Dakota, Arizona, Nevada. Very nice. California, very nice. Florida, Texas, Ohio, perfect. Okay. Now, basically, you want to go ahead and do research on whatever state you choose, okay? What I'm going to tell you is that every state is good. There is good markets in every single state. And even the strictest ones, like Illinois, I've done deals here. Okay, Oklahoma, I've done deals here. Nebraska, I have not done deals here, but I've never actually tried. South Carolina, I've done deals. Ohio, I've definitely done deals. North Carolina, I've definitely done deals. Oregon, I've done deals. And Michigan, I've done deals. So basically, you just want to make sure you do your research on ChatGPT to understand what the regulations might be. And for instance, something like, you need to clearly disclose your contract assignment. You want to use the contract like I use, right? Again, not legal advice, but my contract says, hey, we are a wholesale buyer. We're looking to assign this contract. We also have an entire paragraph that says we can assign it. We also have an entire paragraph saying we have the right to market our contractual interest and things like that. Okay. Again, consult with an attorney, whatever, or ask ChatGPT. Up to you, not me, not legal advice. So once we've done our research on the regulations in a given market, we now need to understand the three most important KPIs when it comes to market selection. Okay. So when it comes to picking a market, there are three important analytics to know, okay? Analytic number one is going to be population, okay? The most important thing you need to know about a market is the population, all right? Because if the population is super small, then there's not a high chance of there being cash buyers there. Okay, you need to be in a market where people are wanting to invest in the real estate. They're wanting to go flip the homes. They're wanting to own rental properties there. All right. There not going to be, yes, there are going to be people who want flipping homes and own rental properties in the middle of fucking nowhere, but they're few and far between. They're going to be much harder to find. All right. But the general rule for population is you want it to have a population of 70,000 or more. Okay. Now, this is not a hard and fast rule because, for instance, there might be a city that you look at that only has a population of 30,000, but it's within 30 minutes of a place that has a population of 250,000. Okay. So the place itself should have a population of 75,000 or more, or it should be within 1 hour of a major metropolitan area. Okay. But it's important to understand that you need a decently populated city. So for instance, for this intents and purposes, I'm going to pick Ohio because I know that Ohio is a good market for wholesaling. So we're going to just say that we're going to pick Ohio as the state that we're going to do. Okay. So after we go through the other three important analytics to know, we're going to go find a market in Ohio and go from there. The other analytic you need to know is median sale price. Now, what this means is what is the median price that homes are selling for in this market? And you want this to be over really 125K, okay? Meaning, and I'm gonna show you how you can find this information, by the way, but meaning that basically if the home price in a market is too low, then it's going to be very hard to get the property under contract and sell it to somebody else for more money, and that person be able to make money and you be able to make money. Another important basically like thing to understand is that on average, your average assignment fee is going to trail the median sale price in any given market by about 10%. Meaning, if the median sale price in a market is $200,000, your average assignment fee should be about $20,000. If the median home price is $400,000, it should be $40,000. Now you might be asking yourself, well, Tyson, why don't I just make sure I'm in the highest median sale price? That's not a bad idea. But as you go up, competition also increases. More people are in the market. It will be harder to get deals. It'll be easier to sell them and you'll make more money doing so. But for a beginner, I recommend to stay a little bit towards the lower end. Anywhere between 125 and like 275, 300 is going to be perfect. But make sure it's above 125. And the third KPI to understand is average days on market. DOM stands for days on market, okay? And for this, you want it to be less than 30 days. What this means is that properties that are listed for sale on the market with a real estate agent, you want the average days to be less than 30. Meaning when a house is listed on the market with a real estate agent, it typically takes about 30 days for it to go pending and actually sell. Now you might be asking yourself, Tyson, aren't we only doing off-market houses? Yes. Why do we care about what agents or any of that shit? It's because it's a good sign of market health and market demand if houses sell quickly, okay? And also a good thing to mention about average days on market is this is gonna fluctuate with real estate cycles, okay? There are gonna be times when like in every single state, it's above 30, okay? But basically we wanna be in the ones that are the lowest or lower, all right? Because it's a good sign that properties move quickly. All right. Now, even though we're not listing the house on market, you need to know that buyers are eventually going to be flipping the house and then listing it. And they're going to be much more apt to do this in places where the property moves quickly and they get their cash out of the property and they make their profits quickest. So how are we actually going to find this information? Well, population is going to be easy. We just want to look for the most populated areas. So we decided to do Ohio. So let's open up a new tab and let's ask Google, Ohio cities by population. Perfect. Okay, so as we can see, Columbus, Cleveland, Cincinnati, Toledo, Akron, Daytona, Youngstown. Look, as you can see, we just really want to be like any of these things above Youngstown. Now, Youngstown is slightly less than 75,000, but I just know it's fine. I actually know these two are fine too. I've done deals there. But basically all of these are going to be good. Okay, so let's just I'm just gonna throw a fucking thing. Let's just say Toledo, okay? Let's see if Toledo is gonna be a good market. We know our first KPI, we know it's above 75,000 population, so that's great. But what about these other two, median sales price and average days on market? Well, let me teach you something that most people have no idea about. The smartest real estate agents and real estate investors don't even know about this, but I do because I learn things. Go on to Redfin. Completely free website here, press buy and go to US housing market. And here you can get so much good data about any given market. You can see about the US housing market in general, but whatever. We want to see about Toledo, okay? So I'm going to search Toledo and go to Toledo, Ohio. And look at this. Average sales price, we can see 129,900. So that checks the box that we have a median sales price. Median days on market, 36. Now that's not great because we want it to be less than 30. But with that being said, this would still be fine. I would still absolutely wholesale in Toledo. Another important thing you can look at, it's not as important, but is the sale to list price. Basically, it's looking like almost 100% of houses sell at what they were listed for, meaning not a lot of price drops. That's good. Okay. Another interesting thing you can see is on this migration thing is this can be a really good way to find other markets is see not where people are moving to Toledo from, but what people are leaving Toledo for. These could all be very interesting markets to look at. Like for instance, Youngstown. Like I said, when we searched Ohio cities by population, Youngstown popped up. I know that Youngstown's a good market. So let me go ahead and click here. Let's go look into Youngstown. Well, median home price, a little bit low. Median days on markets, high. Sale to list price, not great. So I'm not very excited about it right now. okay? Let's try another one. Let's try Columbus, okay? By US housing market, we're going to search Columbus. If it'll show up. There we go. Am I spelling Columbus wrong or something? How do you spell Columbus? C-O-L-U-M. Oh, well, shit. That's why. Okay. All right. See, guys, you do not need to be smart to be successful wholesaling real estate. I just proved it to you. Okay. So median sales price, phenomenal. 290,000. Great sign. Median days on market, 37. A little bit higher than we like. And then it's also, sale to list price, 100.2%. This could be another great market. By the way, so far we've looked at 3 markets, Toledo, Youngstown, and Columbus. And so far I would be happy to pull a list in Columbus or Toledo, and even Youngstown too. I mean, but for a beginner, that probably wouldn't be the first one I'd do, but I would still absolutely pull a list there. However, I haven't seen one that's perfect. Let's look at Akron. Oops. Where is the by US housing market? Akron, I don't know. LeBron James is from here, I think. Okay, 150,000 median days on market, 24. Beautiful, perfect market. Okay, or this would be phenomenal, right? But basically, any of those markets, I just already know in Ohio are going to be great. All right, so is what you're going to want to do. My assignment to you for today is to go ahead and pick a market. Don't just go ahead and pick an Ohio market because that's what I showed you. Look, there are plenty of good markets. Let me just go ahead and rattle off some states for you. Outside of these, I know that there are also good ones. Just, places in Georgia, North Carolina, Florida, Arizona, Texas, Ohio, we got, and really anywhere in the Sun Belt. The West Coast is all good. It's that's where you're going to get the higher competition, but more money to be made. The South is all going to be good. So Alabama, Georgia, Louisiana has good markets. Tennessee has great markets. But my job to you is to go ahead and pick your market. And I want you to come back and leave a comment of what market you picked and why did you pick it. Okay. So tell me about the important analytics to know. Right? And if you have, and maybe something else, maybe you're like, hey, I already know a buyer there, or, maybe it's where you live. And if for some reason you want to go be boots on the ground, even though I'm going to be teaching you how to do this entirely virtually in this series, whatever. Right? But go ahead, pick a market. That's your job. It's the easiest fucking job in the world. It should take you 2 seconds. Okay. But I don't want to overwhelm you. So we're going to take this step by step. So step number 1, go pick your market, leave the comment. Okay. The next thing you're going to need to do is find a wholesale friendly title company in that market. The way you're going to do that is you're going to go and you're going to search title company in and then the market. Title company is in Akron, Ohio. And look how easy this is. Boom. Immediately all of these come up. And all I'm going to do is just start calling them, right? Start with the highest ratings first, but you're going to start calling them and you're going to ask them this. You're going to get on the phone and you're going to say, hello. I was calling to see if you guys work with wholesalers. Or actually say, I'm calling to see if you guys close wholesale transactions. Okay? Now, to this, you're going to hear either yes, perfect, you found one. Say perfect. Awesome. We're looking for a lot of deals there. We're looking for a new title company. Can I go ahead and get the email of, the closing agent that we would send new deals to? They'll send you the email. Perfect. You found a title company. All right. Just go ahead. You're going to want the name of the title company. So for instance, let's say we called Title One Agency in Akron, Ohio, and they said yes. Perfect. Let me get the name of the escrow agent who works there. They will close my wholesale transactions. Let me get their email and let me get their phone number. Okay, and then you're also going to want to grab the address of it, right? So this one would be that, okay? All right, name of title company you're going to want to get. name of escrow officer, email of escrow officer. And sometimes they'll just have like a generic email for the title company, not the actual escrow officer. That's fine. Phone number and address of title company, because these you will actually use to fill out the contract. Okay. When you're actually going to buy a house and you put on the contract what title company you're going to use. So what you need to do today is, number one, you're going to pick a market. Number two, you are going to go ahead and understand why it's a good market using these 3 important analytics to know. Okay. Then you're going to find a title company in that market. Once you have done those things, come back to this video, like it if you haven't already. Why have you not liked it? Like the video. Then you're going to leave a comment and let me know what market you chose. Let me know about the analytics, anything else of why you chose it, and tell me if you found a title company yet or not. Okay? Then I will see you tomorrow for the next day in the free class, where we're going to be going over some very, very important things. This is where the fucking, rubber meets the road. This is where we actually start making moves. Right now we're just doing clerical shit, but we need to go to making moves as soon as possible. Okay? Also, if you guys appreciate this, if you guys are stoked that I'm doing this free training, if you guys are already got a ton of value, please let me know, all right? Because if you guys are watching this, if you guys are commenting, you guys are engaging, I'm gonna be way more apt to do it and put a lot more work into it, because then I know that you guys are serious. I know that you guys are gonna take this information, go make money with it, and we're gonna go do deals together. And that makes me excited, okay? So let me know about that in the comments. Subscribe if you haven't already, and we'll see you tomorrow for the next episode. In the first part of the series, we got your mind right for war. In the second part of the series, we went ahead and we picked the battlefield and we assembled allies in our title companies. And today, we are going to get your weapons ready, okay? Meaning, we are going to get you all set up knowing exactly what resources you're going to be using in your contracts, okay? So in this video, I'm going to make sure that you understand a few things. Number one, where to get the contracts, what they do. We're going to go through the contracts together so you understand exactly how they work and you're able to explain them to a homeowner when you're actually buying the house, okay? I'm going to explain to you how they protect you, make sure you're taken care of so that you know exactly what to do, okay? We're going to be going over both contracts, both the purchase and sale agreement, which is what you use to actually buy the property, and we'll be going over the assignment agreement, okay? Which is what you use to actually sell the right to your contract to a cash buyer, all right? In addition to that, I'll be showing you how to actually get them from you to the person that you're buying the property from, and that you're selling the property from, without you having to actually go to their property like you were born in fucking Pilgrim days or something like that, okay? We have the internet now. We don't need to do that anymore. Do this shit over email. All right. So step number one, you're going to go ahead and click the link down below for the free resources. It's going to take you here. You'll click send it now. You'll type in your email and your phone number so I can actually send them to you. You'll get an email like this. Okay. You'll go ahead. You'll click these. You'll also be able to get the closer script. However, download it. You'll need it later, but we're going to be talking about that later. Okay. In a later video. I'm not sure exactly when. But right now, we're just focused on the contracts and getting you ready and up to speed on them. All right. Once you download them, you're going to go ahead and you're going to have these. Okay. This right here is the purchase contract. Now, I paid about close to $7,000 in attorney's fees to have these contracts made. They were made by a very well-known, very well-respected real estate attorney who designed them specifically for nationwide virtual wholesaling. Meaning, now again, this is not legal advice. Consult your own attorney, but these were designed for me when they were designed to be able to use in every single state for virtual wholesaling. Okay. Again, consult your own attorney, do your own research, but what you should know is that I use them in every single state and I'm not worried about it. Anyways, we're going to go through it. I'm going to go through this line by line. I'm going to show you everything in here, why it's in here, why it's important, how it protects us, and also how you actually can answer questions with the seller about how this works. Okay. Because remember, eventually you're going to be sending these contracts to them and they may have questions. Now, they're always very simple. I have hours and hours of recorded videos on my YouTube channel that you can watch of me getting contracts signed live and things like that. It's never difficult. So long as you do your job right on the first phone calls, which again, we will get to that in future videos. Now, this is the purchase contract. Again, this is what we use to actually get the property under contract. Now we have the assignment contract, which is what we use to sell the right to this contract to the cash buyer. Okay. The first thing we're going to do once we've gone ahead and download them is we're going to make a DocuSign account. All right. And once you've made a DocuSign account, just get set up on the simplest one. I think it's free if you're sending like 5 contracts a month or something like that. Go ahead, make your account. You're going to create a template. Okay. Template name, you're going to call it purchase contract. And template description, you don't need to put anything in there. We're going to add documents. We're going to go ahead and add that purchase contract right here. We're going to add recipients. Okay. First, we're going to do you. We're going to do role, and you're going to put yourself as buyer, and you're going to put your name here. Okay. So I got this. I'm going to put myself as member because I have an LLC. Don't worry about putting this. It's just your name. If you have an LLC, then put your position in the LLC. You do not need an LLC for this. Okay. You can just put your name. All right. As buyer here. Then you're going to add recipient and you're going to put seller 1. And then you just leave this blank. Okay. Because we do not know who our seller is yet. All right. And you're going to add another one and you're going to do seller 2. Now, a lot of people own real estate with their spouse. So there are oftentimes 2 sellers, 2 people who need to sign the contract. All right. And then I set a signing order here. And basically what this means is that when I send a contract on DocuSign, it will first send to the first person on here, which is going to be me. So it'll send to me. I read through it. I make sure that I filled it all out correctly. I sign it. Then it'll immediately send to seller 1. Once seller 1 reads through it, signs it all, it will send to seller 2. And once seller 2 signs it all, boom, the contract is called executed, meaning it's complete. It's going to send you and the sellers both the completed versions, the full PDFs with everybody's signature on. Okay. Now add message, you can do this. So email subject, I'm just going to change this to complete with DocuSign, offer for, and then I leave this blank because when I'm actually filling out the contract, I will put whatever their address is. Okay. Email message, I just put hello. Attached is our offer to purchase your property as is with no real estate commissions and where we are paying all the closing costs. Again, you can just put your name here. You don't need to worry about this. Again, also, you can do whatever you want here. Nobody fucking reads this. It does not matter. Envelope type, we're just going to put purchase agreements. Done. Okay? So, this is all you do here. Now, we're going to press next. And this is where I'm actually going to go through and I'm going to show you how you fill this out and how you set this up. Okay? If you've never used DocuSign before, it's very fucking easy, but I'm going to go through and actually build this template with you guys. So basically it makes it super easy that when you have somebody on the phone who accepts your offer, all you have to do is click this template. You fill out a couple boxes, you press send, it goes to you, you sign it, it goes to them, and then you can get it signed on the phone. We'll talk about the importance of getting contracts signed on the phone again in later videos. All right. So purchase contract and escrow instructions. This purchase contract and escrow instructions. So what you need to understand is when we say escrow instructions, that means title company instructions. All these contracts are instructions that you're giving to the title company, telling them exactly what the fuck is going on in this transaction. So per the purchase contract and escrow instruction, this contract is effective as the latest date it is executed by the parties, meaning it's effective once everybody has signed it, and comprises the entire contract and agreement between the seller and the buyer. Okay, this section 1 defines the basic terms of the contract. First, we have property address. So I'm sure you guys understand this. You're going to go on the left, and we're just going to put text box right here. Okay, and this is where we're going to put the address of the property. Super simple. Now, one thing to note is that if you will see here on the right is where you actually edit this stuff. We're going to keep this as a required field because every time we send a contract, we are going to need to write in the address of it. Okay, now, if you've never used DocuSign before, quick little lesson. Up here is where you put who is actually filling in different information. Now we are going to want to fill in all the information ourselves, okay? So that all they have to do is fucking click sign and that's it. So we're going to put that here. And this is where you will just put the property address, okay? Simple as that. Next, you have APN. If you're not familiar with APN, basically it's like a barcode that is attached to every single property, all right? The easiest way to find it is just to get virtual flip leads, and every single property will have it. Let me go ahead and sign into my virtual flip leads. Where are we? Jesus. Okay, let me just click any property. Look, any property on virtual flip leads, as you see, APN will be right here. Okay? So all we do, we copy and paste this, plug it in right here. Okay? Legal description, as stated in the commitment to be provided by escrow agent. This is just saying, basically, in addition to every single property having an address, a barcode, which is the APN, they also have a legal description, which is basically some old-timey ass shit where they like list out exactly where the property is on the map. Don't need to worry about it, okay? Next, the property. This is the property described in section 1.2 and 1.2, just basically the property at this address, everything else there, okay? Super simple. Next, earnest money, okay? Go ahead, put this right here. Now, earnest money is the only money you actually put up as the wholesaler, okay? It is refundable, as you will see later on, and it does not matter. All I do right here is I put $100. Now, keep in mind, I am actually designing the template right now. So every single time I click use this template, whatever I put in this text is just automatically going to show up. All right. So every single time I'm only going to put $100 EMD. So I'm fine writing that. Okay. Below that is going to be the purchase price. This is how much you are offering the seller. Okay. Remember, it needs to be less than what you're going to be able to sell the property for. Now notice I'm not going to fill in anything here because my purchase price is going to be different on every single contract I send. Next, we're going to have the close of escrow date. This is the date the property actually closes, right? It's the day that the money changes hands. It's the day you get paid. It's the day the seller gets paid. It's the day the buyer becomes the owner of the property. So you typically put this 30 days in the future, but as you will see in future videos, when I go over the actual sales process of talking to sellers, I'll explain to you how you figure out what this date is and you make it important so that basically people are more than, you know, they want to sign with you rather than selling it on the market or anything like that. Next, we have escrow agent. Also, not to be confused, close of escrow is different than the inspection period. Okay. They can end on the same day. That doesn't matter, but they are different. Next, we have escrow agent. We're going to go ahead and put text box all right here. And this is just going to be where you're going to put the information for that title company that you found yesterday. Okay. So as I said, name, that's the name of the title company. Escrow or address, that's the address, the physical address of where the title company is at. Escrow officer, that's the name of the person. Now, some title companies, if you talk to them and they're like, oh no, we don't have specific escrow officers, everybody works on the same thing. You just don't have to fill this out. Okay. You just leave this blank. So you just make this not a required field. Okay. Simple as that. Email is going to be the title company's email for the escrow officer or the main title company. It does not matter. Okay. And then we're going to have seller and buyer. Now this is where we actually have names here. So for me, I'm going to just put my company name. If it's you would just put, if it's just going to be your name, you can just write your name in here with the text box, or on the left here, go to name. But for seller, we're going to put the seller's names. So I'm going to put seller. Okay. And by the way, if there only is one seller, like for instance, in that property that we just pulled up as an example to get the APN, there's only one. Oh, never mind. There's two, right? There's Rochelle and Heath. So we would put, both Rochelle and Heath would need to sign. If there's only one, because it's somebody who owns the property themselves, when you're actually clicking to use the template, I'll show you later on, you just exit it out. You just cancel it and it deletes all the fields that they would have to sign normally. Okay. Super simple. Inspection period. We need to go back to me. Do another text box. So this is where we're going to put however many days inspection period. I always just default to 15. It always only takes me 15 days to get photos of the property and find a buyer. Okay. We'll talk more about this later in later videos, but you could do 30 days, right? You could do up until your close of escrow date and figure out what that is. I'm fine. I will only do 5 days sometimes, right? Because it's very easy for me to get photos and find buyers. Like, people trip out, especially beginners, about finding buyers, but in reality, it's like one of the easiest parts if you have a good deal. Okay. So it's not a big deal. I just put 15 days, 20 days, 25 days, 30 days. It really doesn't matter. Okay. Just make sure you have some amount of days so you can find a buyer. This is important, as we'll show you later on, of why it's important to have the inspection period, because you need something there. Next, we're just going to add some check boxes right here. So it all says 100% by buyer. Now, the seller is going to think this is you, but in reality, it will be the end buyer who is paying all of these closing amounts, right? These are the closing costs, or essentially the fees that are paid to a title company. There are closing costs in every real estate transaction. One of the advantages of selling to me or you, the wholesaler, is that the buyer takes care of all the closing costs. So we're just going to put this here, and I'm going to double click them so it actually adds check marks, because every single time I send a contract, this is going to be completed like this. Next, we have this field right here, personal property to be included in the sale. This is basically anything extra that you're going to want. You will very, very rarely use this field. I pretty much only have used it as jokes, like literally. For instance, one time I bought this property and the guy told me there was some old Porsche there that wasn't running. And I was like, I want that in the sale. And basically I was using that as like a bargaining chip. And so I put in here, like, the old Porsche located on the property is included. Okay. But for some reason, you know, if there's something important, like a fucking hot tub or something that you think is really going to help, this is where you put it in. Notice I unchecked it to be a required field because, like I said, I very rarely ever use this. All right. Lastly, the initials on the bottom of every single page, you are going to put your initials right here, and you're going to put the seller's initials as well. Okay. These are actual signature fields, they're initial fields, but on real estate contracts, in a lot of states, every single page needs to be initialed by all the parties. So we put them here. Okay. And that's the first page, all super simple. Okay. Next, we have the second page. As you can see, there's just more text box. This is just more personal property, like basically for filling out this. So we're just going to add another text box and make it not a required field. All right. Here's now where we actually get into the meat and potatoes, what the contract says. So first is purchase and sale of property for the purchase price and in accordance with the terms and conditions set forth in this contract. The seller agrees to sell, buyer agrees to buy the property. Identified in 1.3. 1.3 is just where the fucking address is. Okay. The earnest money shall be credited towards the purchase price at close of escrow. All right. Super simple. When I'm going through this, I just say, okay, look, you agree to sell. I agree to buy. Does that make sense? Yes. Next, status of title. What this whole thing is saying right here, okay, is just that the title company is going to deliver clear title to you. And what that means is that the title company is going to reach out, and this is in every single real estate contract in the world. Or in America, at least. It's completely standard. And it says that we're going to get rid of any liens on the property. It's going to be delivered in clear title. If you have questions about what that means, go on Google for 2 seconds. It's very basic real estate knowledge. You don't even need to know it. It doesn't fucking matter. All this says is that the title company is going to make sure the mortgages are all paid off and any other things that are owed on the property are paid off at closing. And that's it. Okay. Super simple. Next, inspection of and access to the property. This is one of the most important paragraphs in this contract for us as the wholesaler. Buyer, that's us right now, in buyer's sole and absolute discretion. This is like legal speak for whatever fucking reason I want, may through written notice to seller, which means literally an email, cancel this contract during the inspection period set forth in section 1.9. Set forth during these days, and obtain a return of the earnest money and any other items or things of value given by buyer to seller. So what that means, guys, is that this earnest money it's essentially monopoly money to me. I don't care. I'll put fucking $100,000 here. because I have my inspection period. I can cancel during it. I'm getting that money back. So it does not matter. I'll put up any amount of money here. It's irrelevant to me. Okay. So this is what mitigates our risks. Now there's even more stuff upon that, but we're going to get back to it. From the effective date through close of escrow, meaning from the day that this contract is signed to when the property closes, the seller shall provide access to the property to buyer and will make the property reasonably available to buyer and to buyer's assignees, prospective assignees, agents, representatives, inspectors, and authorized individuals to conduct inspections and walkthroughs of the property. This right here is giving us permission to have our, we'll call them financial partners, but our cash buyers to go walk through the house. Because when we are looking to find a cash buyer, they're going to want to go see it. Now, people always trip out about this, especially beginners. It's super easy. We call up the seller. We say, hey, my financial partner needs to walk the property. When is a good time? And they give you a time. You call the buyer and you say, hey, you can go see the property here. Now they're like, well, what if they try and steal my deal? Dog, we have a legally binding contract right fucking here. You realize that a seller cannot sign two legally binding contracts? They can't promise to sell their house to two different people, right? That's called fraud. All right. There's nothing to worry about there. So very important paragraph. This right here, section 5, just says that if we do cancel, this is the instructions to the title company to send that deposit back to us. Okay. Next, lead-based paint disclosure. This is just standard. It's in like every single it has to be in real estate contracts. As you can see, when I'm going through this with a seller, all I say is just, look, buyer waives the 10-day opportunity to conduct a lead-based paint inspection and risk assessment, because we don't give a shit. All right. We don't care. We're flipping the property, or the end buyer's going to be flipping the property. It doesn't matter, right? They're going to be redoing the paint. Next, as is purchase, existing condition as of close of escrow. Buyer is purchasing the property as is and in the same condition existing as of the effective date, meaning we're buying it in the same condition it was when we signed this contract. The property shall be delivered to buyer at close of escrow in substantially the same condition as of the effective date, meaning if the fucking seller decides to fucking throw sledgehammers through the walls, all right, they're in breach of contract. In the event or loss or of damage to the property or portion thereof prior to the closing, we may terminate this contract and the earnest money and other items of value. So like I said, if for some reason the house gets all fucked up, right, because it gets hit by a fucking hurricane or something, and it's past your inspection period because you thought it was going to close, you can cancel and still get your EMD back, okay? Right, because of some crazy fucking thing, or the seller drives a car through it. Like, it doesn't matter, okay? But what I'm telling the seller when I'm going through this is I say, look, we're buying the property as is. You don't need to make any repairs. You just need to keep it in the same condition it is now. I'm like, okay, makes sense. Escrow, COE, closing costs, and prorations. Seller and buyer engage escrow agent to act as the escrow agent for the closing of the transaction contemplated by this contract. We're going to hire a title company to make sure that everybody does, follows their ends of the bargain. Title will be transferred by general warranty deed. Don't worry, it's some real estate bullshit. Who cares? Buyer and seller shall execute all documents the escrow agent reasonably requires to effectuate the close of escrow. Meaning, hey, seller, you're going to fucking do the shit the title company tells you to do. They're going to send you paperwork you're going to need to sign, just like any other real estate transaction. And then all real estate taxes, rents, and assessments shall be prorated as of close of escrow. Now, okay, here's another thing I'm just going to tell you. Go to Google and look up what prorated means. All right. Basically, property taxes are paid 2 times a year, and that we are only responsible, or the end buyer is only responsible for paying property taxes on the property for when they actually owned it, right? So they buy the property in the middle of the year. They're not responsible for paying property taxes for the entire year. Okay, that's it. Again, it doesn't matter. This is boilerplate shit that's in every single real estate transaction. The party shall pay the specific closing costs applicable to them as set forth in 1.10. As you can see, in 1.10, every single thing is checked by buyer. The end buyer is paying all the closing costs. Next, another very important get out of jail free card for us. The Section 9 cure notice, remedies, and attorney's fees. If a party fails to comply or perform under this contract, the other party shall deliver a notice to the breaching party specifying the non-compliance. This is called a cure notice. So, in the event that, for instance, let's just say you do not perform under the contract. Like perhaps you do not submit your earnest money deposit to the title company. You are technically breaching contract. And for there to be anything done about that, the seller would have to reach out to you and deliver you a cure notice saying exactly what your non-compliance is. So basically, let's say if you were not to submit your EMD to the title company and the seller for some reason called the title company to see if you submitted your EMD and found out you didn't, they would then need to send a cure notice to you. And you would have 10 calendar days upon receiving that cure notice to fix it or to cure the problem. And if you don't, you would then become in breach of contract. Okay? Anyway, do with that information what you will. A cure notice is not required upon the seller indicating an intention to or refuse to close escrow by the close of escrow date. So this is saying that if for some reason the seller, after you've already done your shit, you've gotten the contract to sign, you've got 20 G's on the way, and all of a sudden the seller decides, I don't want to sell anymore. We're saying we do not need a cure notice for that. And if the seller shall breach any of the terms or provisions of this contract, the buyer may proceed against the seller for any claim or remedy the buyer may have in law or equity, which includes but is not limited to specific performance and damages. Now, what this means is if the seller breaches contract, we are allowed to proceed, which basically means to sue the seller for any claim we might have in equity. If we have this property assigned for an assignment fee, that is equity. Meaning, this is right now, it's very clear cut. Now, look, I've never had to deal with this before. Okay, exactly. But in hundreds of deals, you do run across some shit where sellers decide not to sell. They're, hey, I'm not going to sell anymore, whatever. I think I can sell for more, all this different shit. That's where I call them up and we pull up the contract and I show them this. I say, hey, look, you can decide not to sell, sure, but I'm just going to sue you. And when I do that, not only are you going to have to pay how much money I was going to make, but you're also going to have to pay all of my attorney's fees. Who do you think is going to win this case? And just doing that has been enough every single time. Anyway, if the buyer breaches the contract, meaning if you breach the contract, the seller accepts the deposit as seller's sole right to damages. So, if you, for some reason, colossally fuck up, I don't know how you would do this, but some reason you do, the most they can come after you for is whatever is on your earnest money deposit up here. As you can see, I only have $100 always, so it doesn't matter because I don't care if I lose $100. Again, this contract was written by very smart attorneys to make sure that we are completely protected. The prevailing party in any lawsuit arising out of or to enforce this contract shall be rewarded its attorney's fees, blah, 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 blah. Any attorney's fees awarded in favor of the buyer may be paid to buyer from the proceeds of the closing of this transaction contemplated by the contract. What that means right here is if for some reason, some unfortunate series of events led you to have to sue a seller so that they would, close the deal and, you had to pay attorney's fees. Let's say you racked up like $5,000 in attorney's fees. You closed the deal, you got your $15K assignment, but you're at $5K that you spent on these attorney's fees. You're able to collect that $5K just from the seller's equity that they would be receiving from the transaction, right? Because the seller closed the deal, let's say, right, you offered them $150, you sold it for $165. $165 was sent to the title company. You got your 15, but you're still out 5, but the seller was getting $150. They would only send the seller $135 and send you, $145, and they'd send you the 5 back because you can collect attorney's fees through the proceeds. Another little helpful thing here. Again, never had to use it, but it's nice to know it's there. No oral changes to representations. You don't even need to read the rest of this. What does that mean? It means what's in this contract is what's in the contract. You can't just change some shit by saying it. Notices. This is just saying that any communication about this, whatever, needs to be in writing, and personal delivery, electronic mail, whatever is all fine. Miscellaneous. Addendums, acknowledgments, additional terms. This is saying that we're agreeing upon any additional terms specified in 1.12. That's this right here. right? Oh, my bad. I waffled on teaching you guys this. I was thinking this was included in the personal property. This is additional terms and conditions. This also very rarely used. All I ever am putting in here is shit that's already in the contract. The seller just needs to have it written in a way that they understand. Like all the time, they're like, will you put in here that the buyer's paying all the closing costs? It's right here, but yeah, sure I will. Will you put in right here that the property is being sold as is? It's right here, but sure, yeah. Right? Shit like that. Will you put in here that the closing date is this day? Yeah. Okay. Whatever. Another case actually that I use additional terms and conditions, it's been really helpful, is purchase price. I'll put right here, see additional terms and conditions. And oftentimes when a seller doesn't know exactly how much they owe on the property, so let's say they have an idea, they have a ballpark idea that they owe $100,000, and you know you can dispo this property for $120,000. And they're just like, dude, I just need to walk away with $5,000. Instead of putting on the purchase price as being 105, I'll just put purchase price to include enough where seller proceeds is $5,000 after paying the mortgage. I'll do something like that. Again, that's more of an advanced strategy. It's stuff we cover like in the inner circle on a case-by-case basis when the need arises. But yeah, that's basically what we got going. Whoops. Anyway, but basically that section is saying the additional terms, all of that is included. Next, very important, assignability and novation. The buyer reserves the right to assign this agreement to a third-party purchaser or to novate this agreement with a replacement agreement. And in such an event, seller shall cooperate fully at buyer's request to transfer title to the property directly to the third-party purchaser, provided, however, the buyer shall still be responsible for all additional transfer tax payable by the seller as a result of the assignment/novation. Seller's consent to such assignment or novation is not required, necessary, or required. This means we're allowed to use this assignment contract whenever we want, right? As long as it doesn't incur any additional fees to the seller, we're good. Next, buyer's marketing of its contract interest. Buyer has the right to market its contract interest in the property in buyer's sole discretion. Now, it goes on to basically say that we are allowed to market our interest in the property. We're allowed to try and find a buyer that we can assign it to. Boom, right there. Okay? Now, people might say, well, why would anybody, how are the sellers going to be okay with this? These two things. Well, I tell them, look, we work with a lot of different financial partners. I have no idea which LLC is going to take title of this. All that matters is that no matter what, you're getting the amount we promise you. We're buying the property as is. There's no real estate commissions, and you don't have to pay any closing costs. And they're like, oh, okay. And if they say, well, what about this? I'll say, have you ever been driving in your neighborhood and seen one of those coming soon signs? They're like, yeah, well, that's exactly what we want to do. Okay. We want to pre-market our property because, again, we do plan on flipping this property, making a profit. We want to get it out and let people know that's happening as soon as possible. Doesn't that make sense? They say, yes, that makes sense. Simple. Now, I already forgot. We need to add the initials on page 2 and page 3. Go ahead, drag them in there. Okay, time is of the essence. This just means that all of the fucking dates we have in here are actual times. They make sense. It's not loose. Choice of law. This contract shall be governed and enforced under the laws of the state where the property is located. Again, that's just regular boilerplate stuff. Memorandum of contract. This right here is a more advanced thing. Again, it's something we cover in the inner circle, but basically the seller agrees the buyer may execute, acknowledge, or record a memorandum. A memorandum clouds title, meaning there are some states where it is easier for, let's say, an end buyer or another wholesaler, another investor to sort of buy the property out from underneath you. Something you can do to completely protect yourself against that is called a memorandum. This is something you file. It's basically a fucking notice that says, hey, we're purchasing this property, and it clouds title. So nobody else can buy the property without you knowing. And they would have to pay you as a lien holder to get uncloud title. Okay? Again, it's not something you need to worry about. It's more of an advanced strategy. When you start doing 10, 15 deals a month, you need to start, worrying about memorandums. But for right now, just forget it from your memory. It does not matter. Next, electronic execution and counterparts. This contract may be executed by electronic means, like we're doing right now, DocuSign. Lastly, buyer is a wholesale buyer, meaning the buyer is an investor who, in its discretion, may assign its contractual interest in the property for a profit. The purchase price may not reflect the property's fair market value. Again, we're just saying, look, we're an investor. We're going to make money on this, okay? We're telling them exactly what's going on. Again, I believe in being completely above board about everything. I do not want to lie to anybody. I do not want to pretend to be something I'm not, okay? Now, does that mean I'm directly calling up sellers and telling them, yeah, no, I'm going to just make fucking $20,000 on your property without me doing anything? No. But we do everything above board in the contracts, right? We are honest with people. We let them know we're working with financial partners. We're not trying to do anything unethically. Lastly, seller acknowledges and agrees the seller has read and fully understands the terms and conditions of this contract and is entering into this contract voluntarily. It has not been threatened, coerced, or intimidated into signing this contract. We go ahead. We add signatures right here. These are very big. Okay, so we'll just put signature right here. We'll put the seller's name right here. We'll put the date signed right here. Go to seller 2. We'll put their name right here, their signature right here. Oh, what the fuck? We'll put the email right there. And we will put the seller to date signed right here. And then we'll do the same thing for us. Except for you would just put your name right here. Even if it says company, it does not matter. Again, you would just leave this blank. If it's just you, I'm putting member here because that's what I am. Then you're going to put your address right here. I put my business address. You can just put your regular address. It does not matter. Put your email and phone. I would go in and actually fill this out. I'm not going to just write it right here though. I'm going to put my email and my phone number. Okay. I would just write in my phone number with the text box. Okay. And I would actually write it in because it's going to be the same on every single contract. But dude, we do that, save and close. We're ready to fucking go. Okay. We now have this template. And all I have to do when I have somebody who accepts my offer is I press use. I'm going to go in here. I'm going to fill out the seller's information. Let's say there's only one seller, right? So let's say this property, let's say I'm buying this property. I would come here. I'm going to take the address. I'm going to add it right here. So, oh, that's too damn long. Just do that. All right, we go this. Let's say, okay, so we get the names. I deleted one of them, but let's just say that she's the only one. Whatever, with your email, and let's say it's rdog14@weltonenterprises.com or whatever the fuck it is, who cares? Just press advanced edit. Then we'd go through, we'd do next. We'd go ahead, we'd add that address again. So we'd go here. We'd go here. We'd go boom. We don't need this second line, so I'd turn that off required. We'd go here, we'd grab the APN, copy paste, boom. Purchase price, let's say we offered them $36,000 for it. Also, pro tip, I always do 36 and then I'll put like .00, makes the number look bigger. Good psychological trick. Close of escrow, let's say today's July 30th. Let's say we're going to close in 30 days. We just do August 30th of 2025. Boom. Title company, we put the title company shit right here, whatever it was. Title company and wherever the fuck this place is. Where is it? Oklahoma. Boom, boom. We'll just say 25-day inspection period, and then we're done. That's it. We'd go ahead. We'd press send. It would send to me. I would go through. I'd click all of the fucking... Oh, wait, fuck. I forgot. When you're designing the template, make sure you add in the initial down here, okay? Anyway, I'd click send. It'd come to me. I'd click through. Boom, we're good to go. So that is how this contract works, okay? Next, we're going to do the same thing, Whoops, what is this? Delete that. That draft just sitting in there. Next, we're going to need to go to do the assignment contract, okay? So create template. We're going to call it assignment contract. Gonna add that right here. Add recipients. Role is going to be assignor, because that's you. You're the assignor. So Tyson Smith. Tyson Smith. Again, I'm a member, so I put that because I'm a member of the LLC. And then assignee, which is going to be the end buyer. Okay. Now, obviously, we don't know who this is yet. So, and I'm just going to change this to complete with DocuSign. Assignment 4. And again, I would put the address right here. I'm not going to put a message in here because the cash buyer. Oh, what the fuck? Okay. Oops. Edit. Okay. Next. Whoa. Well, here we go here. We'll just call this a purchase agreement. It doesn't really matter. Next. Now we're going to fill this out. So, assignment of purchase contract and escrow instructions. This is a legally binding assignment of the purchase agreement. Entered this day. We go ahead, put the date signed. So, assignor, that's you. So, you're going to go ahead, you put your name here or your company name. Wait, hold on. What colors are what? This is reversed. This is not how this should be. No. What the? Dude. Okay. Fuck it. The amount the assigner is going to purchase property for, the assignment fee shall be paid to the assignor by the escrow agent. The title company is the one who's going to be sending me that, right? Because this person is going to deposit this amount of money plus all the closing costs to the title company. And the title company gets all the money, gives you your assignment fee, gives the buyer the property, gives the seller their money. Close of escrow date is, you will put whatever the same date that was on your original contract, okay? Because that's the day the property actually closes. On this day, the assignee shall deliver to the escrow agent a cashier's check, wired funds. Basically, they're going to pay the money for the purchase price, the closing costs, fees, charges, anything else they have to pay under the purchase contract. Again, remember, they're just buying this contract. So anything they have to pay right here, which was all checked by buyer, right? At least 2 business days prior to close of escrow, the assignee, the end buyer, acknowledges and agrees that the failure to provide the required closing funds to agent at least 2 business days is a breach of contract, which would result in the immediate termination of this assignment and all right, title, interest in the purchase contract immediately reverting back to the assigner, back to me, if they breach because they do not deposit the money, okay? And the assignee earnest money, defined below, being paid by escrow agent to assigner. So what this is saying is if this person, if the cash buyer breaches contract, they are going to pay the assignee's earnest money, the cash buyer's earnest money, which we're going to cover in a second, to me, okay? The assignee has no right to receive or benefit from any cure notice set forth in the purchase contract, meaning that cure notice we have below does not convey, meaning it does not switch over to them. So assignee hereby agrees to deposit, and this is where you're going to put the amount of, this is where you're going to put the amount of money you are going to require the end buyer to deposit. I do anywhere between $2,500 and $20,000, depending on how expensive the property is. Okay. Now, up to $1 million, I would do like more, but pretty much most of the properties I'm doing are less than 800 grand. I just do 20. If it's less than like $500,000, I do 10. And if it's less than $200,000, I just do 2,500. Okay. So right here, let's just say this is whatever, 120. So I would only do 2,500. Whoops. $2,500. Adjust this so it actually looks good. $2,500 that will be non-refundable with the escrow agent. And then you're going to put the title company's name right here. And then buy, and you're going to put a date. I typically do 1 day in the future. So if I was assigning this today, I would do July 10th. Of 2025, okay? And I would just put the title company's name in here, right? Boom. Now, if they do not deposit it by this date, this assignment contract is null and void. Also, the assignment fee they put is going to be credited towards the purchase price. So again, if they deposited $2,500, also I just realized I put all this shit in green. This should all be under mine. This should all be under, everything should be under my name right here, under this blue. I'm not going to come through and do it again, but it should be under blue, not because again, when we send this, we just need them to be able to sign and that's it. We don't need them to have to go fill anything out. So this should be under blue. I'm not going to redo it, like I said, because I'm being lazy right now, but it would be under blue. If the seller is unable to deliver clear title to a signing by close of escrow date, then the assigner will refund the assigning money back to your signing. What that means is, if for some reason the transaction can't close from things outside of the assignee and the cash buyer's control, right? If for some reason the seller can't get clear title because they don't actually own the property, or their liens, their mortgage is way more than they thought it was, and they can't come up with the money to sell it, or whatever it is, this is saying that the cash buyer gets their assignment, this earnest money deposit back, okay? Now, this is just going through showing the title company how to actually return their earnest money. It's no big deal. The assigner's ability to enforce purchase contract and communicate with escrow agent and seller. The assigner, that's us, prior to close of escrow, to pursue any and all legal remedies if necessary in the name of the assigner, can still enforce the contract. Meaning, if we assign this contract, but then we need to sue the seller because they decide not to sell, we can do that. Even though we're not technically the owner of the contract anymore, it's a right we're keeping. Okay? Next, subsequent assignment by assignee. If the cash buyer wants to assign this contract again, they have to give us the name, address, and phone number and email of any other person that they assign it to. Because this happens a lot in wholesaling. Sometimes the cash buyer I'll assign it to them, and then they'll assign it to somebody else, and then that person will assign it to somebody else. Okay, it happens. I'm fine with it. I don't give a fuck. As long as they give me EMD, I'm fine. I don't care. Because then, if for some reason the person that they assign to doesn't deposit the money, my cash buyer is still shit out of luck, and I keep their EMD. Okay? But basically, I still want to have their contact information so I can hit them up, whoever they're assigning to. And number one, I just got myself a new buyer. But number two, I can make sure, hey, are you actually going to close? Last, as is purchase. This right here is what completely protects us from anything arising out of the property later on. Because, for instance, let's say that we assign to the cash buyer property, and then it turns out that there's a massive fucking mold problem. Okay? And then the assignee's like, what the fuck? You didn't tell us that. It's like, hey, look, as is purchase, you have to figure out everything you want. We made no claims about it. Like, you were buying it as is. That was up to you to determine. We have no liability. Okay? This just protects you. It's fucking awesome. Time is of the essence. Same thing. All the dates actually mean something. Again, we are a wholesale seller. We have equitable interest in the property. Not sure if we can convey title. Like, we need to make sure. We don't know. Everything like that, right? It's still being done. Assignee understands, acknowledging hereby that there is no financing contingency. This means right here that just because they can't get a hard money loan in time and close, that doesn't fucking matter. They're still in breach of contract. We get their EMD. Assignee understands, or I'm just going to change this. I'm going to say cash buyer from now on. Remember, assignee is cash buyer, assignor is me, wholesaler. Cash buyer understands, acknowledges, and agrees there's no inspection period. Okay? They don't have an inspection period where they can go look at the property and back out like we can. Okay? They don't have that. Cash buyer understands, acknowledges it's non-cancelable. There is no cancellation. They cannot do that. Okay? Wholesaler has the right to assign this purchase contract. Okay? We're just saying that we're able to do this. Cash buyer understands, acknowledges the seller may leave behind personal items. Again, we are selling the property as is. And we tell the sellers, hey, one benefit of working with us, you can leave all your shit behind. Okay? Take the things you want, save yourself trips to the dump. All you need to do, everything else you want to leave there, that's fine. Lastly, the assignment is not considered valid and enforceable until it is signed by both parties. Attorney's fees provision. This is just saying if we have to sue each other, whoever wins gets each other's attorney's fees.
and then agreed. That's it. And then you sign. So now you just go here. You're going to put assign or. You're going to put by. You're going to put your name. You're going to put your title if you have one, right? So I put member here. If you don't have one, just leave this blank. Date signed. Assignee. Name. Signature. They will put there, whether they're a member, owner, trustee, who gives a fuck. Boom. That's it. Save and close. You're good to go. Okay. So again, once you find a cash buyer, this is what you're going to use to send to them. They'll fill it out. They'll sign it. Once the MD's in, you are good to go. Now, last thing I want to show you in this video is basically the sequence of events. So step number 1. You make an offer to a seller. Okay. If they accept, you're going to send them the PSA, the purchase and sale agreement, on DocuSign. Okay. Once the contract is signed, immediately when that happens, you're going to do 2 things. Okay. You are going to ask the seller to take photos of the property. Now, don't worry, we'll be covering how this works and everything like that in later videos. And you're also going to open title. And what that means is you're going to send an email to the title company that you found in the last video, and you're going to attach your signed contract to it, and you're going to say, hey, just got a new deal. We're looking to assign this. We'd like to get title opened up. Let me know what you need from me. That's it. They're going to respond. They're like, cool, we got it. We're working on the file, whatever. Okay? You are then going to find a cash buyer. Again, we'll be teaching you all of these different steps in upcoming videos. Once you find the cash buyer, you're going to get the assignment contract signed. Okay? You will send that to the title company. Basically, you're going to, when you open up title right here in this step, you're going to have an email thread going with the title company. Once you get the assignment contract signed, you're just going to, hey, got the assignment, attach that contract, send to them, let me know what questions you have. That's it. Then it's just a matter of waiting for close. Okay? And just do and complete anything the title company asks, right? They're going to ask you, like, hey, it looks like you're due for a $30,000 assignment fee. How would you like that sent to you? Wire or check, right? And you'll let them know. You're like, well, yeah, I want a wire. Here's my account routing number. Or maybe you're fucking old-timey and you want to check. Give them your address. They'll send it to you via certified mail. But that's that, guys. All right? So now at this point, you should have a good understanding of the purchase contract, why we use this contract, how it protects us. Understand the assignment contract, why we use this, how it protects us again. You should have them set up in DocuSign, ready to go. All right? Once you've done that and you've created your templates, come back to this video, leave a comment, and let me know. Say, hey, created my purchase contract, created my assignment contract. I'm ready to go. And if you have any questions, drop them. All right? The next video, I'm not sure what it's going to be yet, because again, I'm thinking about this very carefully and making sure that in every single video that I make sure that this is going in the best possible logical order for you to be successful as soon as possible. So again, we can do deals together. All right. And guys, if you have not already, if you are this deep into the series and you are not subscribed to this channel, do me a favor right now, move your fucking mouse to like the bottom left-hand corner of this video or wherever it is and click the subscribe button. You owe me this. Okay. Thank you. Now we'll see you on the next video. Make sure that you do your fucking homework and go leave a comment and let me know once you have your templates and DocuSign created. We'll see you on the next one.
Ladies and gentlemen, in this video, I'm going to be teaching you exactly how you're going to find the properties that you're going to be making the offers to, that you're going to be getting under contract, that are going to be making you tens of thousands of dollars on every single one of these wholesale deals. This is the name of the game right here, is finding properties that are off market, meaning they're not listed with a real estate agent, and getting them under contract for a discount. All right, so in this video, I'm going to show you exactly what you're going to be doing every single day so that you are finding these properties that have a high chance of being willing to take a discounted cash offer and that are off market, okay? Now, I'm going to be teaching you 2 different ways to do this. And this is what you're going to be doing every single day, is exactly the things I'm about to show you in order to find these properties, okay? So this video is gonna be all about how to actually find them. And then you're gonna have all kinds of properties. And then you're gonna be like, Tyson, well, what do I do? How do I talk to these people? What do I say? And that's why we're gonna have the video tomorrow that's gonna be teaching you actually what to say when you call them up and how to make your lowball offers and all the questions you need to answer or ask them and everything else like that. But for now, you need to subscribe to the channel so that you get updated when that video comes out tomorrow. And also, if you are looking to have me help you do all of these things, right? Help you go get these deals, help you, teach you what to say to these sellers, be there for you whenever you have questions, then you need to look into joining the inner circle. The link for that is in the description below. You click, it's a short application, and I'm gonna help you build your wholesale business, okay? If you're the kind of person who wants to get from zero to closing deals as soon as possible, because guys, you guys need to realize something. Every single month that you go without closing a wholesale deal, that's like $20,000 that you're just losing out on. How many months do you want to lose on $20,000, right? So the point is, if you're trying to get to the point where you're closing these deals as soon as possible, you need to be a part of the inner circle. You can fill out the application for that using the link below. But back to what I was talking about, we're going to be doing two different things to actually find these people, all right? Two different lead generation strategies, okay? Now, is what we have here. Two lead gen strats, okay? What we have here is our bread and butter, all right? You see this right here? This right here is a loaf of bread. It's fresh out of the oven, so there's steam, okay? And then this right here, that's butter, all right? And that is gonna be, our bread and butter is going to be VFL, virtual flip leads. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna go to Google, you're gonna make sure that here we go. You're gonna go to Google, you're gonna search virtual flip leads, you're gonna scroll down, you've got all of my competitors, as you can see, literally paying to have their fucking things pop up when somebody searches virtual flip leads, no worries. Anyway, you're gonna click virtual flip leads, and there, you're gonna get an account. Now, if you're just getting started, you're gonna be fine just to get started on the start plan, all right? Let me explain to you the differences between the start, pro, and scale plan. I'm on the scale plan, obviously. You might not need to be on the scale plan yet. The only difference between the Start, Pro, and Scale plan are gonna be the amount of leads you get, all right? Now, with the Start plan, you're gonna get 5,000 monthly leads, meaning you can pull up to a list of 5,000 different properties, and you're gonna have they're gonna be skip trace, you're gonna have the owner's name, their phone number, their email address, everything you need to actually get in touch with them, all right? This is more than enough to get your first deal. Once you wanna start doing 2-3 deals a month, you're gonna need the pro plan. Once you wanna be over that 3+ deals, you're gonna be needing on the scale plan. But for right now, you can get started on the start plan, all right? Now, if you don't know what virtual flip leads is, basically, this is how we're not only gonna be finding sellers, but also cash buyers. Now, in today's video, I'm not really gonna talk about how to use it to find cash buyers. I'm gonna be showing you how to use it to go ahead and find sellers. But the most important thing, right, is that this right here, sell score, okay? Let me explain something to you. You know how when you're on Instagram, you're scrolling through and it's giving you ads and it's all a bunch of shit you want? It's almost like your phone is listening to you. Well, it's because Instagram has millions of data points on you. It knows what posts you're interested, what the content of those posts are, how long you spend looking at them, what you comment on, what you like, what you send to your friends. It knows all about you. And it wants to show you different things so that you buy it, so advertisers spend more money advertising on their platform, right? That's the business cycle. Now, is what Sell Score does is it takes it's not millions, it's like hundreds of thousands of data points we have on every single property. What neighborhood it's in, who lives there, how much money does that person make, who is their mortgager, what's their interest rate, how old is the property, right? Hundreds of thousands of different data points. And every single time that a property sells for cash, meaning it sells to an investor, that information is fed into the algorithm and it says what properties are like this. And every single time those properties sell, the information is refined and the algorithm improves upon itself. So basically what we have is an AI tool that allows us to search any city in the United States and have AI tell us which properties are the most likely to sell for cheap to a wholesaler, all right? This is a massive upper hand, okay? Exactly like the copy says right here, gives you the upper hand. So let me go ahead and show you exactly how that works. Let me log into my account here. So let's search any city, right? Let's do, okay, Jacksonville, Florida. This is a good market for wholesaling. So if we want to find deals in Jacksonville, Florida, if we want to find some off-market opportunities,
perfect for wholesaling. Here's all we have to do. We're gonna search Jacksonville, Florida. You can search, right, whatever market you found in your pick your market section, you're gonna search that. You're gonna search it, you're gonna click off market because we only want properties that are off market. We don't want anything listed with the realtor. Then we're gonna go to sell score and we're gonna jack this thing up to 100%. We want the most likely properties to sell, all right? Now look, we got 3,378 properties here, but I'm gonna show you how we can refine this list even further so that we are maximizing our time spent, meaning we are giving ourselves the greatest chance of talking to somebody who has a high likelihood of accepting our lowball cash offer. And what we're gonna do here is we're gonna go to filters, you're gonna go to property characteristics, and you're gonna go residential, all right? We only want residential properties. Now, it's not to say you can't wholesale apartment buildings and condos and multifamily and mobile homes or anything like that, but you're probably a beginner, and so I want to get you started on the things that are the easiest to do these deals. So you're gonna go residential over here and just do single family, okay? Then you don't need to mess with any of this. This is all stuff you can mess with. Like for instance, actually, never mind. I'm not even gonna get into it. We're not gonna confuse you. We're just gonna start out with the basics of what you need to know. This will be for a later video. I'll get into some more of these filters. You can go to residential, MLS status, obviously no, we don't want any properties that are on market. We're gonna go to ownership info and we're gonna select individual. We only want properties for right now that are owned by an individual, meaning they're owned under their name. It's not owned under an LLC, trust, a corporation, or anything like that, okay? And what we're also gonna do is years of ownership, a minimum of 7 years. Meaning every single person on this list, the property is owned by a person and they've owned it for at least 7 years. Why do we do that? Because we do not want somebody who just bought their house. While there are other strategies like sub-2 and creative finance you can get into for that, right now we're focused on making your first buck quick. I want you closing that first $20,000 deal as soon as possible. So we're not gonna fuck around with all that other shit. So 7 years of ownership, then we're gonna go to valuation and equity, and we're gonna go estimated equity rate of 35%. Now, what this means is that, if you don't understand what equity is, here's a quick little thing, all right? Let's say that you have a property, okay? You have a house. This is your house that you own right here, okay? And your house is worth $100,000, okay? But you have a mortgage on your property of $50,000, okay? So your mortgage over here is 50K, all right? But your house is worth 100. So if you sold your house for $100,000, you wouldn't get all $100,000, right? You'd have to pay off the mortgage, but you would get $50,000. $50,000 is your equity. Your equity is the difference between the value of your house and what you owe on it. So we want people with at least 35% equity. Why do we want that? Because they need to have some equity in their property so they can accept a lowball cash offer without having to bring money to the table, right? Because let's say that you have a $100,000 house, but you have a mortgage on it of, let's say, $90,000, right? That meaning if I offered you $60,000, even if you were willing to take that, you would have to bring $30,000. You would have to pay $30,000 for you to sell me the house. That's why we want some equity, okay? So 35% equity, and that's it. We've now taken that list from 3,000 something down to 1.6K. Well, let me make sure that came through. Okay, perfect. So we got the list now of 1,579 properties. We're gonna go ahead, we're gonna select all, we're gonna save this list, okay? New list, we're just gonna call it Jacksonville, Florida. And then I'm gonna put today's date, right? Which is the 14th, okay? So I'm gonna call it that, okay, whatever. All right, I'm gonna call that list and I'm gonna save it, okay? Once you've saved your list, it's gonna take a second. You'll get a notification once it's done, but it's gonna take a second because it's gonna go through and skip trace it. And then you're gonna go to my list over here and you're just gonna select that list. So for instance, here's another list I just pulled, or I pulled whatever a couple days ago. Check it out. All of it comes through. We got the phone numbers. We got the information on the property. I can click this, pull it up. We got all the details about the value of the property, if there's a mortgage on it, any distress indicators. Like for instance, this is showing that this person is a tired landlord. We can see the owner's name. We know what year the property was built, how big it is, how big the land is, how many bedrooms, baths. We can get some photos and stuff up here. All good stuff, right? We can go ahead and call the owners. We got the emails for the owners. We're good to go, right? So this is the first way that you're gonna get leads, all right? Now the other cool part about VFL is there is a add-on you can get, called the dialer. It's an AI dialer that allows you to call through these people with a local phone number. And what I mean by that is I don't live in Fort Wayne, Indiana, and my phone number is not an Indiana area code. When I call them, it's gonna have my Arizona area code. Now that's not necessarily a problem, except for most people are not gonna answer random calls from random numbers that are in other area codes. So you wanna be calling with a local area code. Now the AI dialer has all kinds of cool features. I'll make a video more like in depth on this specifically, but not in the purposes of this video, because right now I just need to show you how to get the leads, okay? But you should know that your best bet is to add on this AI dialer. I think it's 80 bucks a month, 90 bucks a month, something like that. It's insanely worth it. Basically, you can come through, you just press start, it'll just start dialing. It has all the properties information as they answer. The AI takes notes on the phone call, summarizes it for you. It's so good. You can set up tasks and stuff for yourself. Again, I'll make a more in-depth video on this in the future, but that's the first thing you're gonna do, right? This is, as you remember, as I told you, where's your bread and butter? It's your bread and butter, VFL, okay? So that's the first lead gen strategy. You're gonna be doing that until you've called through this list a couple times, right? Because not everybody's gonna answer the first time or whatever. But while you're doing that, you're also gonna be checking 3 other websites. What are these? What is this strategy? Well, let me show you, because we're drawing today. All right, this is the worst drawing ever. Stand by. So we have the bread and butter, that's VFL, right? We also have right here, look, check this out. So this right here that I'm drawing is a tree, okay? That's a tree. And on that tree, we have some little green dots, and these green dots are gonna represent fruit. I want you to notice something about these fruit. They are low hanging on this tree, meaning they're easy for you to get up and reach. So in addition to our bread and butter, we also have low hanging fruit that is going to be the C, the FBM, and the ZFSBO. The C stands for Craigslist, the FBM stands for Facebook Marketplace, and the ZFSBO stands for the Zillow for Sale by Owner. Craigslist, Facebook Marketplace, and Zillow for Sale by Owner are other places that you can find off-market deals. And these are people who have already said, yes, I'd be interested in selling my house. So check this out. Let me go to Craigslist, and I'm gonna search Craigslist Jacksonville, right? Because I want the Jacksonville, Florida Craigslist. As you can see, I can come over here, and I can search house for sale. And when I do this, at first, I'm gonna get a bunch of bullshit. Oh, never mind, I won't, they changed their thing. But basically, I'm gonna get these houses that are for sale. Now, I don't want shit like this. Like, this was clearly remodeled. But what do we have here? Do we have okay, it's a little bit remodeled. But we have a hodgepodge ass house, boom, that I can go ahead and call. Okay, but I do see that this is some management team, so I don't really know. But either way, this is a person I could call and make a lowball offer to. Oh wait, this is listed for rent. Never mind, whoops. We don't want shit for rent. Hold on, we wanna go housing for rent. We need to go real estate for sale. That's what I meant. We need to change this to for sale. And we need to look for houses that look like a bit run down, right? We don't want nice shit that's been remodeled. Like, that's nice, that's been remodeled. Hold up, what is this? Boom, this is exactly, we wanna call this person, right? They got this shit for sale for 60 grand on fucking Facebook, Craigslist, right? So we're gonna scroll down, find the owner's phone number on here somewhere, or we're gonna send them a message on Craigslist or whatever. But either way, this is the kind of shit you wanna be checking every single day, right? So in whatever market you've checked, every single day when you go on to start working and start making some money, you're gonna go on Craigslist, you're gonna search real estate for sale in that market, okay? And you're gonna be calling all the people who have like shittier property, or not, I shouldn't say shitty, but basically properties that aren't updated. Like, check this out, dude. It's got popcorn ceilings. You can see up here, right? See that popcorn ceiling? We got like old carpet and shit. This is what we're looking for. We're not looking for shit like this, right? See where this is like remodeled, it looks really nice? Like, that's a waste of time. You wanna call the old properties, shit that looks like it needs some work done to it, all right? In addition to that, you're gonna go on Facebook Marketplace, okay? We're gonna go on Facebook Marketplace, and again, another nice thing about Facebook is you can change your location. So I can come up here, boom, Jacksonville, all right? Okay, apply, and I'm gonna search real house for sale. house for sale, and check it out. We got houses, right? So let's see this one for 66K right here. Look at this, roof all fucked up. It doesn't have a floor in some places. Like money, like dude, I'm gonna call this house right now. You're gonna watch me get a wholesale deal. Not really, I'm not going to, but if somebody's watching this, maybe like the first person, go find this, go call this person. This looks like a perfect, exactly what we're looking for, okay? Right, we come here, send them a message. Hey, what's your number? Interested in making an offer on your property? Give you a call. What's your phone number, right? You can also go to Zillow. Jacksonville, Florida. Now remember, we want off-market properties. Why do we want off-market properties? Because we don't want to deal with real estate agents. Real estate agents are going to not let you assign your contract. They're going to not let you have inspection periods. They're going to ask for a bunch of EMD that's not going to be refundable. Fuck that. We don't want that stuff. So we only want properties that are for sale. And go over here to more and click this shit. Uncheck all of this. We only want owner posted. All right, so we're gonna uncheck all of this. Do not do foreclosed, pre-foreclosures, that's bait. That'll all be agent posted shit. Only owner posted. We're gonna click apply. We're also gonna go to home type, deselect. We only want houses. Boom, now check this out. Look what we got here. Now look, here's a pro tip. Go to price, go to sort and go to newest. Then we're gonna scroll down and we want the ones that have been listed for the longest, all right? They've been listed for the longest. They have the highest chance of like getting fed up and just waiting for their house to sell, and they might be more likely to accept a lowball offer. So we start here. This one's been listed. Let's see how long. 181 days, dude. Come on, right? What are you even doing here? What are you even doing? Here's the owner's phone number. We can call them up, okay? So in recap, you have 2 lead gen strats that you are going to be doing every single day. First, you're going to pull a list, your bread and butter on virtual flip leads, okay? This is going to be your bread and butter. You're going to be calling through this list every single day. But before you do that, you're going to be checking both the C, the FBM, and the ZFSBO for low-hanging fruit. As you can see on the tree, there is low-hanging fruit, okay? Now, look, here's the thing. This isn't the best way, but there is low-hanging fruit, meaning you can just get lucky and find a deal that somebody, you're just like, fuck it, I want to sell my thing, puts it up on Craigslist, call them up, you make them a low ball offer, you get the deal under contract. They've already raised their hand saying, yes, I'm interested in selling. So every single day you want to be checking these websites and calling all the new ones of properties that look like they needed updating. All right. And then after you've done doing that, is where you hop on with your bread and butter on VFL and you start calling through that list. Okay. So this is exactly how you're going to be finding the properties to wholesale, is following these 2 lead generation strats. Okay. In the video tomorrow, I'll be teaching you what to actually say on the phone, right? What questions you need to ask them, how to make them the lowball cash offer, and how to get the contract signed on the phone, and any objections that you might hear about that. All right, we'll be teaching you exactly how to handle that. So make sure you're subbed to the channel. Now, your homework is I need you to go do these things. You need to get familiar with virtual flip leads. So go get your virtual flip leads account set up and go hop on Craigslist and Facebook Marketplace and Zillow for sale by owner and just kind of start looking at what properties are there. All right. Once you've done that, come back to the comments of this video and say, hey, I got my VFL account. I already saw it on my first list that I'm going to pull. It has 781 people on it, or whatever it is, however many people. You're going to let me know, all right, in the comments below. That's your job. So I know that you're following along, you're paying attention, you guys are getting value from these videos. Because if you don't, I'm going to stop making them, all right? So subscribe to the channel. Go pull your first list and let me know how many people were in the comments. And if you're interested in getting that first deal as fast as possible, so you're not effectively losing $20, $30, $40, $50,000 a month every month you don't close a wholesale deal, then fill out the application for the inner circle and let's get you moving as soon as possible. All right? So go get after it. We'll see you tomorrow. Skinny iced vanilla latte. People do business with people they know, like, and trust. Look, that's an extra $4,000 you just made in fucking negative 2 seconds by not going straight to their asking price. You never make snap, you never give and take on the call. You always say you need to get approval. The more they start to tell you about their life, they're gonna know you, like you, and trust you more. What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Today, I'm gonna be taking you from somebody who has no idea what they're on the phone to a absolute fucking sales Chad who's gonna be able to close deals on the phone, because you're gonna know exactly what to say, how to set up the conversation, so you're gonna put yourself in a position to prime the homeowner to be able to sell you their property for the lowest possible price so you can go assign it and make a bunch of money.
Now, I know how to do this because I have done, I don't even know, hundreds of thousands of cold calls, okay? I've paid upwards of $250,000 of my own money on different sales trainings, and I've just spent so much time training other people and myself on how to become the very best you possibly can on the phone so you can get deals locked up so you can go make a lot of money, okay? I have taken absolute beginners, people who had no idea, were, tripping on their fucking nuts, stuttering on the phone, to people who are closing, multiple deals every single week. And I'm gonna give you that exact same training right now. Now, what you need to know is I have taken, all of this different sales training that I've taken, plus all my own experience, and I've blended it all together into what I'm going to give you right now, which is a very simple 5-step process that you can follow on every single phone call when you are wholesaling real estate, okay? We're gonna go over the exact questions to ask the homeowner, how to start the call, how to make yourself come off as a professional who they're gonna trust to do business with, even if you're some fucking 18-year-old, you don't have a fucking, 2 pennies to rub together, a pot to piss in. If you follow the instructions I'm gonna give you in this video, you are going to sound like an absolute pro, and people are gonna have no qualms with selling their house to you over the phone completely virtually, all right? Now, what you need to know is that this conversation is going to run the exact same way no matter who you're talking to on the phone, where the property it is, what kind of property it is. The only thing that changes is whether or not the lead is cold or warm, okay? A cold lead is somebody who has no idea that you're calling them. If you're making a straight up cold call because you just went and pulled your first list on virtual flip leads and you're just calling them out of the blue, or maybe that you're gonna follow one of the tactics that I'm gonna show you in the next video, which, to basically send them a text where it's like, hey, would you be interested in getting an offer? And then they say yes, then that's a warm lead, all right? So, the only thing that changes is whether it's cold or warm lead, and the only thing that's gonna change is the intro. But I'm gonna go over the complete 5-step process. The first is the intro, where you're gonna introduce yourself, you're gonna talk about what it is you're gonna be talking about on the phone, the whole purpose of the call, and basically make sure that they have enough time to actually have this conversation so you're not wasting your time. The next, we're gonna be figuring out their motivation for selling. Okay, this is extremely important because nobody is gonna sell their house for a discount unless they have a strong motivation for selling. It's one of the most important parts of the sales process. It's the biggest lever that I see people who do well on the phones and people who do poorly on the phones. It all comes down to how well they are able to have this conversation about motivation. Then we're gonna be getting into the condition of the property. And now you're not gonna go through and ask them a bunch of boring ass questions about the property. That's not gonna do you anything. The whole point of talking about the condition of the property is to prime them for accepting a lowball cash offer, and I'm gonna show you how to do that. Then we're gonna figure out this person's timeline of when they actually wanna have the property sold, the money in their bank, and then be ready to move out if they're living there. The 4th step is going to be the actually getting their asking price, where we begin the negotiation process, trying to work them down so we can get the property under contract for the lowest possible price. And then finally is getting a commitment. And that right there is the secret sauce. You'll get into that at the end of the video once we get there. So as I said, every single phone call is gonna be about the same with the difference of the introduction, okay? Whether it's a cold or warm lead. But the introduction is both gonna follow the very similar formats, following the TAO method. TAO stands for T-A-O, time, agenda, and outcome. Every single phone call, we wanna make sure that they know how long we're gonna be on the phone with them. That's time. Agenda, what we're gonna actually be talking about on this phone call. And O, outcome, what is gonna be the result of us having this conversation, okay? So the way I do this, if it's a warm lead, I'm gonna call them, I'm gonna say, hey, looks like you spoke to my assistant blank about selling this property. And they're gonna say yes. And then I'm gonna say, okay, usually these conversations take about 5 to 10 minutes time, where I'm gonna ask you some questions about the property, agenda, and based on our conversation, there'll be one of 2 options. Either one, we're interested in purchasing your property and I'll have a written cash offer for you, or 2, we're not interested in your property and you'll never hear from me again. Sound good? Outcome, okay? Now that is if it's a warm lead. If it's a 100% cold call, the only thing that changes is you're going to figure out if they actually are interested in selling in the very beginning. Now the way you're gonna do this is you're gonna call them up and you're gonna call them by their first name. So if you're sitting there on virtual flip leads, it says, hey, this is owned by Sherry, you're gonna call and you're gonna say, hey, Sherry, like a friend. You're not gonna say, hello, Mrs. whatever. No, you're as if you were calling, a friend that you've known for a long time. Hey, Sherry. You're gonna say, hello, like who is this, right? And then that's where you're gonna say, hey, my name's Tyson. I was calling to see if you might be interested in getting a cash offer for your property on 123 Main Street. And that's it. And if they say yes, perfect, you're gonna move into exactly what we just talked about with the agenda and outcome of, great, well look, I just wanna take 5 or 10 minutes to ask you some questions about the property. That way we can go ahead and figure out if it's something my company's interested in. Either A, we will be interested and we'll have a cash offer for you in your inbox, or B, we won't be interested, I'll let you know why and you'll never hear from me again. And also that you'll never hear from me again, it's a very cheeky way to kind of disarm the seller, you know, let them drop their guard down, let them know this isn't gonna be some high pressure sales call, okay? So that is the intro, that's step one, right? We need to figure out, hey, first of all, let's reaffirm, does this person, is they interested in getting a cash offer? If they are, perfect, move back in. If they aren't, don't waste any time with them. Now, you'll have some people, especially beginners, they get into this and they think that them not wanting to sell is some kind of objection they can overcome. That's not the case. If somebody doesn't want to sell their house, there's no magic sequence of words you can say to them that's gonna convince them to sell their house to you, okay? So, quick little review on the intro. Hey, John, it's Tyson. Looks like you spoke to my assistant about possibly selling your property over on 123 Main Street. Did I catch you at a bad time? No, you didn't. Perfect. These phone calls typically take 5 to 10 minutes. I'm gonna ask you some questions about your property so we can figure out if it's something my company is interested in purchasing. If it is, we'll have a cash offer for you written in your inbox. And if it's not, we'll let you know why and you'll never hear from me again. Sound good? Yes, that sounds good. We need them to affirm that they do have 5 or 10 minutes to actually have this phone call. Because if they don't, if they say, hey, you actually caught me at a bad time, I'm in the store right now, we don't want to sit there and bumblefuck the way through it and rush through it. No, we're going to be like, okay, totally understand. When is a good time? I could give you a call back when you will have 10 minutes and we can run you, and we could go ahead, ask these questions so we can get you a cash offer for your property, right? And then, if you need to set a follow-up, go ahead, set a follow-up. But once you've understood that, yes, they have 5 to 10 minutes, they're interested in selling their house, it's time to move into the motivation portion. Step 2, okay? As I said before, nobody is gonna sell their property for a discount if they don't have a strong motivation for selling, okay? So the way we're gonna do this is kind of sneaky. I'm gonna say, hey, look, while I'm getting your property pulled up here on my end, could you just sort of catch me up to speed? What's got you interested in selling this place? Now, it's very important that you say that how I did, in a very conversational tone. Because a lot of things are, one way that I see beginners mess this up is they're like, hey, why are you interested in selling? Now that sounds like a fucking interrogation. Now they got their guard up. They don't like that. We don't want to do that, okay? So that's why it's just, I say, hey, while I'm getting your property pulled up, can you just kind of catch me up to speed here? What's got you interested in selling this property? It's almost like I'm making small talk with them, okay? Now, the goal here is to keep them talking for as long as humanly possible about why they might be interested in selling their property. Because guess what? Every minute they spend telling you why they want to sell is another minute they're convincing them of their own belief that they want to sell the property, okay? And the longer you can have this conversation and dig deeper into why they're wanting to sell, the more it's going to reaffirm the belief in their internal mind that they need to sell the property, which will put them in a state to actually make the decision to sign a contract a lot easier, okay? Skinny iced vanilla latte. So, catch me up to speed, what's got you interested in selling the property? Now, when you ask this question, you'll hear a variety of different answers. The best one is they're just gonna launch into a tirade about why they need to sell this place. They're gonna say, well, I ended up renting it out to a family member, and at first I thought it was gonna be this good idea, I was gonna make some passive income, but it turns out they never pay on time, even when they do pay. We're short rent on 2 different months. They're always submitting different maintenance requests for me to come fix things. They're not even on time, whatever. They just start ranting, okay? That's where you want to put on your therapist hat and just sit there and just agree with them and just get them to keep talking. Oh, wow, really? How long has that been going on? How is that affecting you? Oh, geez, how much longer can you do this, right? Just get them to keep talking and just to keep going, okay? Or they'll say something short like, well, I'm interested because you called me, right? Interested in getting a cash offer. Okay, no worries, this is where we want to basically ask the same question, but in a different way. And the way I'll do this is basically if you get some kind of short, blunt answer of, I'm interested in selling because you said you're interested in buying cash or whatever. Just some kind of short answer is what you're gonna say is, okay, yeah, no, totally understand. So let me ask you a question. Once you do sell this place, what's your next move? Because you wanna find out, hey, does this person, are they living in the property? Is it an investment property, right? Because if they're living in the property, they're gonna be like, maybe they'll say, oh, well, you know what? We have wanted to move to Florida to be closer to our kid. They just had a grandbaby. Oh, really? Right? Now, boom, there's motivation. But as you can see, by asking them another question, it's the same question, just in a different way of figuring out where they want to go. We're putting themselves in the headspace to start thinking about that, and we want to keep them talking about it, okay, for as long as humanly possible. Now, there's all kinds of different information out there on the internet about how to have these conversations for as long as possible, but in the end, it's super simple. Just keep asking them questions about themselves, about any of the shit they say, okay? Oh, really? Okay, how long have your kids lived over there? Really? How long have you been thinking about moving there? Just how, what, when, where, and why questions. Just rattle them off. Again, if you can have a conversation with somebody for an hour about why they want to sell their property, the longer you can talk to them about why they want to sell, it's a straight line of your chances of getting that property under contract, okay? Because not only are they selling themselves on why they want to sell the property, but you're also building massive amounts of rapport with this person. They're sharing like personal things about you. And guys, when people share personal things about themselves with you, you start to become a friend. And that's big. People do business with people they know, like, and trust. And if you can sit there and the more they start to tell you about their life, they're gonna know you, like you, and trust you more, okay? So, have a conversation with them about why they want to sell their property. You know you've done this correctly if at the end you're going to say this line to them. You're going to say, let me make sure I got this straight. You're looking to sell this property because you ended up renting it out to a family member and it hasn't been anything like what you thought. You're not getting paid in rent on time. It's causing you to fall short in these other areas of your life and you're just wanting to be done with it. Do I have that right? Now, here's the magic of that. They'll either say, yes, you got that right. That's exactly why. And you know, okay, boom, we hit the nail on the head. We're speaking to them in their language. We got them in the right mindset of where we're trying to go. Or alternatively, they'll say, no, actually, and then they'll start telling you more about something else. So like, well, yes, that is a huge pain in the ass, but really, we kind of need to pull the money out of this because we want to buy a boat over here or whatever the fuck it is. And then, okay, boom, we got another thing. We have another bargaining chip of why this person is going to have cause to sell the property that we can use later on when we get to the negotiating section, all right? So once you've had that conversation, you ask them that question of, hey, just to make sure I got everything right, here's why you want to sell the property. Do I have that correct? And we flesh that out because then if they say something else, you need to go through the entire process again, all right? But once we've completely understood why this person wants to sell, it's time to move to the portion where we ask them about condition. Now, when I first got into real estate, I spent a lot of time in this little pillar, asking questions about, how old is the roof, the AC, is the kitchen been remodeled, blah, 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 blah. And I realized all of that is a gigantic fucking waste of time. All that stuff will come up later on, and when you're just having this conversation right now, more than likely you're not even gonna get the right info. So instead, I've changed it to where my entire conversation, my entire line of questioning about the condition of the property is just based on one question. This is where I'll say, all right, so pretend we just had a conversation about why they wanted to sell. We completely understand why they're interested in selling. Now I'm gonna say, hey, thank you for sharing all that. Let me ask you a question. On a scale of 1 to 10, with a 1 being we would need to tear the property down and start over, and a 10 being it's fully remodeled, it looks like it was fresh off one of those HGTV flipping shows, how would you rate the condition of your property? And then they're gonna say a number, typically a 5, 6, or a 7, or maybe an 8 or a 9, all right? People will almost never say 10s. If they say 10, then we know that this probably isn't a deal. So they're gonna say a number, they say, well, Tyson's probably a 6. And I'm gonna say, okay, so what would we need to do to the property to make it a 10? At this point, you need to fucking click open your pen, fucking sharpen your pencil if you're a caveman or something, or start typing your notes, but you need to write down everything they say the property would need to become a 10 out of 10, right? They would be like, oh, well, in order to be a 10, you'd probably need to update the kitchen. It hasn't been updated since the 80s, old appliances, old cabinets, stuff like that. There's a bunch of carpet that would probably need to be replaced. The AC is, 8 years old. It's probably on its last legs. There's some drywall and stuff that needs to be patched, something in the backyard, all this stuff. And you're just gonna sit there and write all of this down exactly as they say it, okay? It's very important to write things down exactly as they say it, because again, you wanna use the exact same words they do. Again, when you speak in the same words that somebody does, they're more likely to know, like, and trust you, all right? So write these down exactly as they say it, and whatever. So they go through, they tell you about all the shit that's wrong. You say, okay, thank you so much for sharing all of that. I appreciate it. Now we move on to the third step, which is the timeline. Now, the goal of the timeline is to figure out when they are actually want this property to be sold, they'd be ready to move out, and they want to get paid for the property, okay? Now, look, in a perfect world, everyone wants to get paid for the property today, but they don't get paid until the property closes. And when the property closes, they need to be moved out of the property, or their tenants need to be out of the property, okay? So those two are gonna be different dates, but it all needs to happen on the same day. So the way I ask this question is I say, hey, one thing people love about working with me is I'm extremely flexible on my closing timelines. Typically, we look to close in about 30 days. Some people love that, other people want more time. What's gonna work best for you and your family, all right? Now, there's a couple Jedi fucking mind tricks I did right there. Number one, I start out with one thing people love about working with me. Dude, okay, if you guys have ever seen the movie Inception, Leonardo DiCaprio trying to plant ideas in somebody's head via fucking dreams, we're doing the same thing via conversation. I just planted the idea in their head that people love working with me, okay? People love social proof. So when you say something like that, they're like, oh, people love working with this guy. I want to work with this guy. Little thing there, it's small, but it makes a big difference. But the point of this is for them to understand that when you actually sell to me, rather than listing it on the market with the realtor or whatever dumb fuck thing they want to do, they get to pick the day that they're getting paid and move out and everything like that. That is not a luxury most people have, okay? Most of the time when you sell your house on the market, it's just whenever the close date is when you got to be the fuck out of there, okay? The buyer just determines that. So this is a huge advantage that you want to keep in your back pocket of why somebody should sell to you, especially if time is a constraint. Because some people will be like, oh, I'm trying to get this done as soon as possible. I need to get paid. I have this credit card I'm trying to pay off from this house, or I need to be moved across the country. I've got a job that's starting. Anything like that goes back to the motivation thing of a strong reason of why they would need to sell this property, okay? So once we understand that, we understand their timeline of when they want to have the property sold, we now can move into the asking price, right? Which is where we actually start the negotiation process of trying to get them down on their number. Because remember, the cheaper we can get this property under contract for, the more money we're gonna be able to assign it for, the more money we make. So the way I do this is by first saying, based on what you told me about the property, and then I list off everything they said earlier, exactly as they said it, of what the property would need to be a 10. So based on what you told me about the property, the kitchen hasn't been updated since the 80s, the bathrooms haven't been updated, there's a bunch of carpet we need to be replaced, there's some repairs we need in the backyard, we're gonna need to replace the AC. What do you feel is a fair price for the property in its current condition? Again, subtle things that make a big difference. What do you feel is a fair price in its current condition? What do you feel? Again, that's not a very committal thing. It's not like they're slamming it down, right? It takes a lot of pressure off them. Fair price. The word fair is awesome in negotiations because nobody wants to be unfair, all right? And then in its current condition, we are re-emphasizing the fact that the property is not a 10 out of 10 and they're not gonna get a premium, all right? So then let's say they give you a price, okay? They say, I want $200,000 for it. You say, okay, well, if we were to pay all the closing costs, there were no realtor fees, and we bought the property entirely as is, so you didn't have to worry about making any repairs, you didn't have to worry about cleaning out the house. You just take the stuff you want and go. What's the best price you could do? Now, there's a lot going on in that sentence. Number one, we are paying the end buyer is gonna pay all the closing costs, so the seller isn't paying any closing costs. There are no realtor commissions, sales commissions, anything like that, which is normally like 6% in a regular transaction. So again, a good benefit to keep in mind. And we're buying the property as is. Well, we're not, the end buyer is, but this is a huge benefit, right? Most of the time people have to, make all these trips to the dump, do all this shit, hire maids. It's gone for them now. We're making this as easy as possible. It's the easy button on selling your house. And then, notice at the end I say, right, if we were to buy the property as is, we're paying all the closing costs, there's no realtor commissions, what is the best price you could do? Notice I say, what is the best price? Not, is that the best price? What is the best price forces them to say a number. Is that the best price is a yes or no question. It's very easy to say, yeah, that's the best price I could do. So you need to say what, because that question alone has made me millions of dollars, I'm not even kidding. That question alone, I've had people drop their price $50,000, $100,000. I've had them drop $10,000, $20,000 that all of a sudden makes this a deal, gets it at a price where it works for me, where I'm gonna be able to go wholesale the deal and make money. So that's super important, okay? Once they've given that price, now it's time to move into step number 5. And this is the biggest issue I see with beginners, especially people who are not used to virtually wholesaling. They're not used to doing this over the phone, right? Is you need to get a commitment from them. That's where, so basically, let's say I say, what is the best price? And they say, well, you know, if you're doing all of that, I could do 190,000. It's now time for me to get a commitment where I need to kind of gut check this person and see how serious are you? And that's where I'm gonna say, okay, so just so I understand this correctly, if we can make you an offer of 190,000, we can close in 20 days like you wanted, we buy the property completely as is, we pay all the closing costs, all of this, is this something you're for sure ready to move forward with today? Yes, Tyson, I'm ready to move forward with today. I'm now gonna gut check him again. Okay, and is there anybody else that you would need to talk about with this? Any boyfriend, girlfriend, wife, husband, pastor, priest, lawyer, whatever? No, I'm the sole decision maker, right? Look, I gut checked them twice. Like, is this something you're for sure ready to move forward with today? And then I figure out if there's any other decision makers. And they say, and look, throughout this, if they say, oh, well, no, you know, I would need the weekend or whatever, then you push it back to the weekend. You say, okay, well, awesome. Well, look, how about you go ahead, figure out what you need to, you know, look at the property, look at the surrounding, you know, the comps, the comparable properties, and then I'll give you a call back after the weekend. Or if they say, no, I would actually need to speak with, you know, my wife on this. Say, okay, cool. Well, tell you what, how about you have a conversation with your wife, let her know that you have a very interested party who can purchase the property as is, where they're paying all the closing costs, there's no realtor fees, no sales commissions, yada, 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 and have a conversation with them and figure out what kind of price you guys would need to get. And then you set a follow-up, okay? You only ever want to make an offer to somebody and move to the next step once they are ready to go, okay? This is the biggest thing I see beginners make the mistake, is they just try and get an offer out there, and then guys, once you've made your offer, all your fucking chips are on the table, and the seller becomes in the position of power. Where before you give them the offer, you are in the position of power. So we want to hold that for as long as possible until we know that they're for sure ready. So once you've gotten the okay that yes, they're for sure ready to move forward if the offer makes sense and that they're the only decision maker, that is where we're gonna say, perfect. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and submit this information over to my underwriting team. And then depending on your skill level, for me, it takes me 5 minutes to underwrite a house. So I'll say, hey, I'm gonna submit this over to them. I'll give you a call back in the next 15 minutes and we'll be able to see, you know, if the property qualifies for an offer or not. But for you, it might take a little longer. Maybe you say, hey, I'll give you a call back this evening or tomorrow, right? But you need to make it as soon as you possibly can. So you say, look, perfect, you've got a commitment. Basically review, look, we know their motivation, we know the condition of the property, we know their timeline, we know what their lowest asking price is, we've gotten a commitment. It is now time to say, perfect, I'm gonna go ahead and get this information submitted. I'll give you a call back in the next X time. Before I do, go ahead, save my number in your phone. Just go ahead and put Tyson Home Buyer or whatever it is, right? And I'll give you a call back at whatever time. Is there any questions you have for me? No? Okay, perfect. Boom, hang up the phone. Now you go to actually analyze the deal. You figure out how much you'd like to offer, you know, what your MAO is, what your ARV is. And again, this is all things why being a part of the inner circle is so massive. Because when it comes to succeeding in wholesaling real estate, everything you can kind of brute force. If you're just the kind of person who's willing to work hard, you'll hammer the phones, you'll make the offers, you're gonna succeed, you're gonna make a lot of money. The only thing that you can't brute force is the finesse of actually analyzing a deal and knowing how much you can offer the seller, okay? When you're a part of the inner circle, as soon as you get to this point, you can just go ahead and submit the deal to me and my team. Me or one of my underwriters, you know, my full-time underwriters, my partner, will actually analyze the deal for you. We'll let you know what your numbers are, what the property will sell for, what the most you can offer, what the repair costs are, any comps that you need to use when you get to the negotiation portion that I'm going to talk about in a second, along with tons of other benefits, all right? So if you are the kind of person who wants to start making money as soon as possible, go ahead, hit the link below, fill out the application to join the inner circle. Spots are limited. Again, it is a very personal thing and we invest a lot of time and resources into you, so we can only accept so many people. So if you're interested in that, fill out the application. But once you've gone ahead, you've ran your numbers, you have your MAO, you know what you can offer them, you're now gonna give them a call back. And again, we start every single phone call with TAO, time, agenda, outcome. Call them back. Hey, Sherry, Tyson here. I got great news. We were able to take a look at your property and it did qualify for an offer. Do you have about 5 or 10 minutes to go over that? Yes. All right, you see time, agenda, outcome. We hit it right there, right? Okay, yeah, Tyson, I've got 5 or 10 minutes. Perfect. So I submitted the property and it did get approved for an offer. Here's what they approved. Now, I'm gonna rehash all the benefits of selling to me, a wholesaler. I'm gonna say, we got the property approved to close on the day you chose of whatever, 20 days from now, 30 days from now, whatever it was. We got it approved, we'll purchase the property entirely as is. You don't have to make any of the repairs, you don't have to worry about any of those things you told me about. There are gonna be no realtor commissions, no sales commissions, and my company has agreed to pay all of the closing costs. So the number we offer is the number net to you. Does that all make sense? Yes, perfect. So based on what you told me about the property, our company has approved an offer of $173,575. And then you shut the fuck up. But notice I said a very specific number. You don't want to just say 170 grand or 173. Make it a very specific number, because then I'll tell you why in a sec, but it's a math equation. It feels like this was this very worked out exact thing, and it feels tougher to negotiate off of, okay? But once you make the offer, it's not done. Very rarely has somebody just been like, okay, yep, that sounds good, sign the contract. No, this is where the negotiation begins, right? So notice I said, hey, our company has approved an offer of $171,755. And then I shut the fuck up. And oftentimes there's a moment of silence. Do not ever be the one to break that moment of silence. You wait until what they speak. Now, at this time, they're either going to be like, no, that flat out, that doesn't fucking work. Absolutely not. How dare you lowball me, right? And then at that case, look, we step back, we say, hey, completely understand. You know, look, is there anywhere we can kind of meet in the middle? If they're just like, no, absolutely the fuck not, I need at least, 250 grand, like somewhere super high above. Okay, totally understand. I appreciate your time. If anything changes, give me a call back. Then you would just set a follow-up to follow up with this person every single fucking week until that person either sells the house, they die, or they threaten to sue you. You call them every single week and you say, hey, it's Tyson. Hey, Sherry, it's Tyson. I know we made you an offer for your property over on 123 Main Street. I know our offer didn't work. I was just wondering if anything changed. And you make that call every single week until, again, they either sell the property, they die, or they threaten to sue you. Or they're going to be a little, it sounds like, basically, they say no, but it's not a hard no. They're like, gosh, that's just a lot lower than we were thinking. That's where we move into this. We say, hey, totally understand. Look, the good news is, the hard part's getting the property approved, and we've done that. Now it's just a matter of making the number make sense. So let me ask you, is there somewhere that we can is there something we can do to make this deal happen today? Then, maybe they say, hey, give me an extra 5 grand. Give me an extra, can we close a week sooner? Something like that. We go ahead, we go back and forth, we make it work, all right? But the most important thing is when you're doing that, when you begin the negotiation and you start this give and take process of, okay, could you give me an extra 10? Could you give me an extra 1? Could you move the closing date? Whatever, this, that. Always keep it vague, meaning say, okay, well, if we could do that, is it something you'd be ready to move forward with? Okay? And basically, once we come to a thing where they say, look, if you could give me an extra $5,000, close a week earlier, yes, that's something I could do. We never say, yes, that's something I could do. We always say, hey, if that's something we could do, is it something you'd be ready to move forward with today? Okay? And once they say yes, that's where we say, all right, let me put you on a quick hold. Let me go talk to my team and see what I can do. Put them on hold, set a timer for 3 minutes, and get your contract ready, all right? So basically go into DocuSign, get it filled out, get ready to go. Then call them back and say, hey, great news. We got the property approved. We're ready to go. What's the best email for you? And then boom, you move into closing the deal, all right? And you already know how to do this because you watched the contract video. It was day 2 or day 3 or whatever, all right? But you never make snap, you never give and take on the call. You always say you need to get approval. And the other thing is we always go negotiate in inches, not miles. So let's say that in this instance, let's say we offered them 171,755, and our MAO is 180. And they say, hey, if you could do 180, we could do a deal. Say, okay, let me get this approved, whatever. We do not call them back and say, yeah, we can do 180, all right? That is fucking rookie talk. We call them back and we say, hey, I got great news. I got them to be able to move up to 176,400. all right? Guys, we negotiate in inches, not miles. Look, that's an extra $4,000 you just made in fucking negative 2 seconds by not going straight to their asking price. I know it's difficult, especially as a beginner, because you're just sitting there, you're probably fucking happy as shit. You're like, oh my God, I'm about to make fucking $20,000 or whatever. But I'm telling you, take a deep breath. Okay, you're not gonna lose the fucking sale because you offer them $4 grand less. Worst case scenario, they say, no, it needs to be 180, and you can go back to your team and fucking come up to 180, all right? So, do negotiate in inches, not miles. But lastly, the last thing is once you do have an agreed upon price, you keep them on the phone while you go through the contract, okay? You say, perfect, look, that's something we can do. What's the best email? We're gonna go ahead and send over this offer now. They might try and get off the phone. They might try, hey, perfect, send that over. We'll go ahead and review it. We're taking the matter outside of our control, and we do not ever do that. We always wanna be in control. We say, hey, no problem. Look, I'm just gonna go ahead and send it. Company policy is for me to go through it with you. Look, you're not obligated to make any sort of decision on the call. If you need some more time, totally understand. And then they're gonna be like, okay, yeah, that's fine, right? You'll send it to, and you'll go over the contract with them on the phone. The way you're gonna do this is you're gonna have the contract pulled up. You're gonna be like, okay, hey, it's gonna come through. It's gonna be, from DocuSign. It's gonna say offer for and your address. You get it? Okay, open it up, click open. Now, let me know when you got the page opened up. Okay, I do. All right, perfect. First thing I want you to look at, do we got your address right? We got the correct address on there? Yep, again, look, this is a fluff question. We're just getting them used to saying yes. Do we got the address spelled right on there? Yep, perfect. All right, now below that, most important part of the entire agreement, do you see a section where it says purchase price and we have $176,400 like we agreed upon there? Yep, perfect. Again, that's the price you're gonna be getting for the property. Now, below that, do you see where it says close of escrow date? That's the day you're actually gonna get paid. That's the day that you're gonna be moved out of the property and everything's gonna be done and settled. Does that sound good? Is that what we wanted? Yes. All right, now go ahead to the very bottom. Notice those 3 boxes where it says closing costs. Closing costs to be paid by followed. Notice how it says buyer, 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 buyer. That's because we're paying all the closing costs. Yep, just like we agreed upon, right? Yep, perfect. Now, is there anything else on this page that doesn't make any sense to you? Notice, I don't even fucking talk about the earnest money. I don't even fucking talk about the inspection period. If they ask about it, it's fine, we deal with it, right? But we don't even mention it. And again, that's all stuff that in our inner circle, we have full trainings on the contract of how do we handle the objection of why do you have an inspection period? I thought you were buying it as is. Or why is the earnest money only $100, right? We in the inner circle, we go through all of that different stuff, plus so much more on handling objections. I just don't have time in this video. So, go through the first page. Once they've done that, now, some people will just go ahead and initial, and they'll just start signing, okay? Most people will, because here's the deal. When you need to think, like if you've ever bought a car before, did you go through and read every single fucking piece of the paperwork? No, okay? People don't do that, all right? They're just like, hey, look, we're getting this price, cool, done, start signing. If they don't, all you're gonna say is, look, go ahead, read through the contract, I'm right here if you have any questions. And now, they might say, okay, whatever. Or you can say, hey, now, if this is once you start to feel a little bit more comfortable, again, like if you're in my inner circle and you learn these objections, is I say, hey, do you want me to go ahead, read through this contract line by line? Do you want me to give you the Spark Notes version of every single paragraph? Or would you rather just read it through yourself and have me here if you have any questions, all right? 9 times out of 10, they'll say, give me the Spark Notes version, and I have a whole script written through of just, hey, this paragraph means this, does that make sense? Yes. This paragraph means this, does that make sense? Yes. And we just go through, hammer it out, get it signed, bang, 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 okay? But again, if you do that, if you follow those 5 steps, you do the introduction correct, you do the motivation correct, you spend as much time as you possibly can there, okay? You get the condition right, and you get them to basically tell you everything that's wrong with the property. You begin the negotiations in the asking price, and you anchor them, and you get it down. You get a commitment from them, and then you make the offers the way I just taught you to, and you do not fucking wait for them to sign the contract by themselves, and you keep them on the phone until they've signed the contract. You are going to start to make a fuck ton of money. Now, like I said, if you're the kind of person who wants to make the fuck ton of money sooner rather than later, go ahead, hit the link below. Fill out the application to join the inner circle. Now, your homework is, now that you've seen this video and you understand how to do this, you now know what to do. You know exactly what I do on every single phone call, okay? I have hours and hours of live footage on my YouTube channel of me closing deals saying these exact same words over and over and over again. Look, you're not gonna sound like a pro. You're not gonna sound like me the first time you do it. That's okay. You must be willing to be the silly beginner if you ever wanna be the wise, graceful master, okay? It's gonna take time. But the good news is, you're just saying the words. And what's the worst that's gonna happen? Are they gonna punch you through the fucking phone? No, that's impossible. Okay, you're gonna be okay. Even if you fuck up and you say the wrong thing, who gives a shit? They don't know what you're supposed to be saying. They don't know right? It doesn't matter, okay? And as you do these calls, you're gonna get better and better and better. So your homework is, go find a friend, a family member, somebody, and just practice with them. Just say, hey, will you do me a favor? Pretend you're selling your house and let's go through this. Do it the one time with them and you're gonna be like, damn, this is no big deal. And then just get on the phone. Just call somebody. I'm telling you, it's not that scary. The first one is gonna be the very hardest one. And then you're gonna realize after you've done 10 of them, damn, I'm getting good at this. And once you've done 50, you're gonna be like, oh shit, this really isn't hard. Like, what was I even stressed about? And then you do 1,000 and all of a sudden, you're gonna sound like such a G, okay? So go get after it, don't wait. Go practice with somebody. I'm serious, do not fuck this up. Because if you sit there and you just wait on this information and you don't do anything, you're never gonna make any money. So go, get a friend, get your little sibling, get your mom, your dad, whoever, practice with them, and then as soon as possible, get out there and have a real conversation. Come back to this video, not once you've practiced with somebody, but once you've made your first phone call and you've done it and you've had a conversation with somebody, come back here in the comments, let me know, and I'm telling you right now, the people who do that are gonna be the people who make money the quickest. So go get after it, all right? If you haven't already, like the video, subscribe to the channel, we'll see you on the next one.
Today I'm going to be showing you exactly how you're going to actually find a cash buyer and finish this deal out, okay? We're going to be going over everything that happens from the moment you have called up the seller, you've made the offer, you got the contract signed, boom, now it's time to make some serious moves and actually close the deal and actually make some money, all right? So let's go through this. First thing, you get the deal under contract, right? So you've sent them the contract, it's signed, you've signed it. It is now time for the fucking rubber to meet the road, as I think I've said like 9 times through the series, and actually make some money. Once the deal is under contract, and by the way, these are the order of these steps. Do not fucking skip them. Once the deal is under contract, the very first thing you're gonna do is open up title. The way you're gonna do that is by saving a copy of the contract on DocuSign, the PDF, attaching it to an email to the title company, and you're gonna say, hello, I just got this deal under contract. We are looking to assign this contract to an end buyer. Let me know if there's anything else you need to get title open, and then leave the seller's contact information. So seller name, boom, seller phone number, boom, seller email, boom. And if there's another seller, because it's a husband and a wife or whatever the fuck it is, you put both of them. Then they'll email you back on submitting EMD, right? They're gonna say, hey, okay, perfect. Well, some of them will, but basically they'll email you back and be like, okay, perfect. We'll say, so you have $100 EMD. Here's how you can submit it here. Every title company is different. It doesn't matter if they ask you to do a wire transfer for the EMD and you've never done that before, just tell them, hey, I've never done that before. Can you please tell me how to do it? And they're gonna tell you. One thing you need to understand about title companies is they are on your side, okay? If you don't know some shit that they're saying, tell them. Be like, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing here. And they will help you, okay? Use them as a resource. Once you've sent them that email, they've responded, title is open, boom, you now need to get updated photos of the property. Remember, we are wholesaling off-market deals, meaning there's not just like perfect photos of them like there are when a realtor already has the property listed. So you need to get updated photos of the property. The way you're gonna do this is one of 2 ways. Now, some people might be like, oh, well, I'm gonna fly over there. Do I have to fly to this virtual market I'm in to take photos of the property? No. You're just gonna ask the seller to take them. And 9 times out of 10, they're gonna be able to. Now, in the case that they are out of state or they're not able to take the photos, you're just gonna hire someone on Craigslist. It's very easy to go to Craigslist.com, search the area where your property is, and be looking for somebody to take photos of a property. $50, gig wanted, easy. And just require that they have an iPhone, and that's it. Within fucking 30 minutes, you're gonna have like 15 people message you that they wanna do it, okay? Now, when you ask for photos, you need to tell them, use an iPhone, take 3 pictures of every single room, including all the bedrooms, the kitchen, the bathrooms, 1 picture of just the outside of the property from 3 different angles, pictures from the back of the property from 3 different angles, the side of the property, picture of the AC unit, and picture of any damages. Like if there's a window that's broken or there's fucking cracks in the ground or in the ceiling, take pictures of those as well, okay? Once you've gotten photos, it is now time to actually find a cash buyer, okay? Now, when it comes to finding a cash buyer, here's the 3-step process you wanna take, okay? Number 1, you're gonna post the deal in Facebook groups. So you're going to go to Facebook. I swear to God, okay. I thought this was going to make me do some like two-factor authentication. Go to Facebook. You're going to search real estate investors and then wherever your property is, right? So let's say it's in Jacksonville. Real estate investors, Jacksonville. And in here, you're going to find groups like this one that has 25,000 members, 10,000 members, 2.3 thousand members, 7,000 members. And I'm going to join all of these. Then I'm going to post a deal in the group, okay? Now let's see if it lets me see. I don't know if this one's private. What the frick is this? You're going to see other people posting like shit in here, whatever, different deals. Is what you need to know about posting deals for sale in Facebook, okay? So when it comes to posting deals in Facebook, rule number one, never ever put the full property address just out there for the public, okay? Never fucking, I don't want that. Never do that, okay? The reason why is people are stupid. And somebody will just see it and just be like, oh, I guess I can go look at this property and just go fucking knock on the owner's door and be like, oh, hey, I'm here to see it. So just don't put the full address. Put in the post that if they're interested, to send you a message where then you can vet them, make sure they're a serious buyer, and then you can give them the address, okay? So in the posting, you want to include the most important details, which are going to be zip code, bedroom and bathroom count, square footage, year built, and lot size. And then just list out any major repairs needed or any kind of like anything that would be important. Like for instance, if the property has a swimming pool or something, you'd put that, all right? And then attach in the post somewhere between like 6 to 10 of the best photos, right? So, you know, obviously a picture of the very front of the house, you know, pictures of like the kitchen, the bathrooms, things like that. Just basically not all of the photos, but just some of them, okay? And this is what you're gonna do. And then you're actually gonna put on the post, if you're interested in learning more about this deal, text me or message me or call me, okay? The reason here is you want to be able to vet these people on Facebook. Because while Facebook is a phenomenal place to actually find cash buyers, the problem is you're going to have a lot of wholesalers in there who are just going to try and like wholesale your deal with you, but not actually telling you that they're JVing it. It can just create a weird situation, okay? This is also something in the inner circle. We help you like vet cash buyers so that you know they're legit. But even though you will get a lot of shit like that, Facebook is a phenomenal place to find cash buyers. Even though I have access to all kinds of things, like, you know, a full dispo team, investor lift, all this shit, I still sell deals on Facebook, okay? So this is step number one. You're gonna, once you get the photos, the property submitted to title, you're gonna post it in Facebook. And then as you're waiting for leads to come in, you're gonna move on to step number two, which is to pull a cash buyer list in VFL. And I'm gonna show you how to do that right now, okay? Let's go to VFL. Let's make this a little bit bigger. And let's just search Jacksonville. So here's how you're gonna pull a cash buyers list in VFL. This is the exact same for every single market, more or less, okay? First, we search the area. Then we're just gonna go to cash buyers and we're gonna select yes, okay? Now, this is gonna show us all of the properties in Jacksonville, Florida that were purchased by a cash buyer, except for we don't care about every single property that was purchased by the cash buyer. We only want properties that were purchased by a cash buyer in the last 12 months. And now, as you can see, we have a list of 6,000 properties that were purchased by a cash buyer in the last year. However, we don't want to have to call all 6,000 people because this could be people who, you know, sold their house, they had a bunch of equity, they're just buying a new place all cash. We really only want investors.
So I'm also going to put a filter in here for the number of properties owned, a minimum of 3. This is now going to show me every single person who purchased a property for cash in the last 12 months who owns a minimum of 3 other properties, showing they're very likely to be a cash buyer. Now, we're at 3,500 properties. Boom, you can go ahead, select that, and now you have a cash buyers list of over 3,500 people. You can text blast this list. You can cold call this list, right? And basically let them know, hey, I got a property. I have a great deal in Jackson. Oh, wait, I forgot to mention. When you post a deal in Facebook, the most important details, you also want to put this. You also want to put the ARV and price. Meaning, if the ARV of your property is $450,000 and you're selling it for $320,000, you'd put ARV 450, asking 320, right? And so when you are here and you're cold calling these people, you're texting them, you say, hey, I got a new deal in Jacksonville, Florida. It's worth $450,000. I'm selling it for $320,000. It's in this zip code, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,500 square foot. Would you be interested in learning more? Straight to the point, okay? And if you're cold calling them, say, hey, I got your number because it looks like you're purchasing properties for cash in Jacksonville. I actually have a deal that's worth $450,000 that I'm selling for $320,000. Would you be interested in hearing more? Right? Boom. And then you get people, yeah, I'm interested. Send me the details. Now, when you send people the details, you're going to send them this, right? All this same stuff. Just a simple thing with this on it. However, when you are actually calling cash buyer list, include the address and just include a link to all the photos, okay? And that's something I forgot to mention is on the photos, once you do get them, you want to upload all the photos into like a Google Drive, a Google Photos, or a Dropbox link. Just one link so you can easily text it to somebody and then they, boom, can go see all of the photos, okay? So once you have a cash buyer, once you have some people who are interested, right, from either posting in Facebook groups or finding somebody on Facebook, they're going to want to go see the property. That's totally fine. You just need to make sure they're serious by asking questions like, hey, when you go see the property, you know, is there any, like, what are you going to see that's going to cause you not to do this deal? Are you happy with the price I'm asking, right? Are you going to be able to commit to it? Are you going to be able to submit EMD once you, like, if you go look at it and everything checks out, right? And if everything sounds good, then you're going to set a time for them to come see the property in person. You will call up the seller. You say, hey, my financial partner needs to do a quick walkthrough of the property. When is a good time? Mornings or afternoons? Afternoons, perfect. Call up the cash buyer. Hey, the property is open for you to see sometime, you know, Thursday afternoon between 12 and 4 p.m. Can you go? Does that work for you, right? You set a time for the cash buyer to go walk the property. Now, people get all fucking weird here. They're like, well, what if the cash buyer talks to the seller behind my back? Guys, you have a legally binding contract with the seller. The seller cannot sign another contract or back out of the contract with you, right? Unless it goes past the inspection period. But the deal is, the reason why you don't have to worry about that is because you're not just going to have one cash buyer, right? Guys, the whole name of this game is these deals are very sought after. There's going to be a lot of competition. You're going to have a lot of people who want the deal, right? So I'll even set up showings where I have like 3 cash buyers come at one time, right? And if the seller says, I'm like, yeah, I'm vetting different financial partners. I'm going to see who's going to give me the best deal, right? Doesn't that make sense? I'm like, oh yeah, of course, right? So you have the cash buyers go see the property. You vetted them. You know that they're serious. And if they like what they see, that they're going to be willing to sign an assignment contract and submit EMD that day. Once they've gone and see it, you agree on a price. Boom, you're in the money. It is now time to send them the assignment contract on DocuSign, get it signed, send it to the title company, and then reach out and say, okay, hey, when are you submitting EMD? You're going to talk to the buyer and say, when are you going to submit EMD? Once they told you that they've submitted EMD, message the title company, just email them and say, hey, looks like my end buyer just submitted EMD on this property. Can you let me know that you received it? Once you've received it, boom, you are in the cut, okay? Now it's just a matter of waiting for close of escrow. So on the contract, the close of escrow day is the day that the money, actually the full amount of the purchase price is actually sent to the title company. The title company then is going to send the amount that the seller needs to them, and they're going to send you the difference, and the buyer is going to get the property, okay? When this has been done, you are now going to set up the key exchange. This is where you're going to talk to the seller and you're going to say, hey, look, property's closing tomorrow. Can you do me a favor? Go get all the keys to the property and leave them somewhere out front, right? Hide them under a rock, put them in an electrical box, whatever it is, just hide them somewhere and send me a picture of where it's at. Once you get the email from the title company that the deal is closed, you're going to go ahead, send it to the cash buyer. Hey, here's where the keys are. Pleasure doing this deal with you. Can't wait to do another one. And boom, you get paid. Now, people always have questions about how you actually get paid in a wholesale deal. Do I need an LLC? Do I need a special kind of account? No. The title company is going to reach out to you a couple days before closing. They're going to say, hey, Tyson, looks like you are due for a $20,000 assignment fee. Would you like this paid via wire or check? You can get a wire transfer to any account. You just have to give them your account and routing information, and they'll wire it directly to you. This is what I do on every single transaction because it's the fastest way for me to actually get the money. However, if you want a check for some reason, you can do that too. You tell them, hey, I want a check. They'll ask your address, and they'll send you a check via certified mail. Okay? And guys, that is it. Now, you might be sitting here thinking, well, hold on. Like, there's got to be more to it, right? No, for the most part, this is it, okay? This is all you have to do. It's not like there's some kind of crazy process. You see, I feel like people in these like sort of white collar industries like finance and real estate, they make up all these kind of crazy sounding names like close of escrow and different shit like that so that people think it's hard, when in reality, it's not, okay? You're simply following instructions. And the best part is once you're working with the title company, dude, they will help you with all of this. If there's anything you don't understand, you just ask them. Or if you can, you join a mentorship like my inner circle where we're going to hold your hand throughout this entire process, okay? Once you've closed that first deal, boom, now you are in the money. Because here's the deal. Getting your first deal is the first major stepping stone in wholesaling real estate. Because all the time you spend up until getting that first deal, before you actually get paid in money, you're getting paid in so much experience, okay? Every single phone call you make, you're getting better on the phones. Every single deal you analyze, you're getting better at analyzing deals. Every single buyer you talk to, you're getting better at networking. And guess what, guys? During this portion, when you're finding a cash buyer, you have a great deal, you are building a buyer's list. And next time you get a deal in this market, it's gonna be so much easier to sell it and you're gonna sell it so much faster. That's why I'm able to sell deals so quickly, which I forgot to mention. If instead you just want to press the easy button, you want me to sell your deal for you and handle everything with the title company, you can have that option as well. All you have to do is hit the link down below that says JV with me. You submit the details of your deals. So you basically just upload a copy of your contract, give me the general information, submit the photos. We'll take a look. And if it's a good deal, my team will take over from there. We'll get your property sold and we split the money. Okay. And we're going to help you through every step of the way, show you what's going on, answer any questions you have. You'll be working directly with me and my team. Okay. But guys, once you've done this first deal, it makes closing your second, third, fourth, fifth so much easier. All right. And all I ask is that when you do that, go ahead and leave a comment here, send me a message on Instagram, and let me know that you closed that deal because it makes me so happy to see the ripple effect of what's been able to be accomplished. I mean, I have helped hundreds and hundreds of people close their first deal, and it never gets old to me. Like, I close deals all the time. Like, I get these wires all the time. It's just fucking normal at this point. But I still get that same excitement every single time I get a message from one of you guys that you just closed your first deal. It's life-changing stuff. It shows you how much is possible. See, one thing I've realized is everybody has a financial thermometer of basically how much money they feel like they're capable of making and what feels like a lot of money. Guys, I'm telling you, the first time you close that $20,000 check, you were going to realize, like, holy shit, like, money isn't real. It's just numbers on a screen. Like, you just made $20,000 almost out of thin air. And you're going to realize, wow, that, like, not that crazy. And it's going to break a lot of limiting beliefs I know you guys have because I had them too. Okay. But then you're going to see, okay, now I'm doing my second deal, my third deal, my fourth deal, and they start falling in place a lot easier. Okay. The last thing I want to leave you guys with, all right, during this video is this. I know I've said it several times before, but if you're the kind of person who wants to get to this point where you're closing that $20,000 deal, that $30,000 deal, whatever it is, as soon as possible, you need to book a call to join the inner circle. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, joining the inner circle costs money. Because here's the deal. I'm not going to invest in you if you're not going to invest in me. But when you join the inner circle, you need to understand something. This is something I heard from a guy named Jeremy Haynes, and it's really good. And it's basically the fucking me scale. Is when you first join the inner circle, I'm fucking you. Because you're going to have to pay me to join the inner circle so that we're going to give you access to all these resources and help you along the way. But when you pay me money, right, I'm fucking you. But here's the deal. The price of joining the inner circle is much less than the average profit you'll make closing a wholesale deal. And as soon as you close that first deal and you make 4 or 5x your initial investment, you're now fucking me. And then when you start closing more and more of those deals, you start fucking me a whole lot more. And the thing is when it comes to different programs, different coaches, mentors, I take my job of getting you to the other side of the fucking me scale very seriously. Because I'm not in the information business. I don't want to just sit here and fucking sell you PDFs and give you scripts or whatever for you not to do anything. As you guys have probably understood, my end goal here is to transform you into a real estate investor who's doing deals so I can do deals with you. Because guess what? Once all of a sudden you start doing deals, whether you're in Jacksonville or you're in fucking Toledo or you're in Fort Wayne or wherever it is you are, guys, I have deals being sent to me all the time. And I like to play matchmaker with people, and I make money and you make money and everybody makes money. And that's my end goal. I need to transform you into that person so we can do deals together. Okay? So if you want to get to that point as soon as possible, you want somebody who's serious and actually invested in your success, hit the link below. Fill out an application for the Inner Circle. If you haven't already, subscribe to the channel, leave a like, and if you feel like I missed anything in this series of things you'd like to know in order to close your first deal, leave a comment below.